Hello and namaste to all of you out there. Welcome to the International Travel and Tourism Conference, Reinventing the India Experience Towards a New Normal. I am Vrushali Potnis Damle, co-founder of the Dhī Project, and on behalf of all the organizers of this conference, Govardhan Ecovillage, Bhaktivedanta Research Center, Tiger Trails, Neela Lad, retired Regional Director, Western and Central India, India Tourism, and the Dhī Project, I welcome you to this platform. The conference is to be held over 3 days, 29, 30, and 31st of October, today being the third and the last day of the conference. So we've touched upon the facets of the corona crisis, the new normal on the first day, positives and the way ahead on the second day. And the theme for today's session is redefining experiences of incredible India. We have Neela Lad to sum up the sessions for us yesterday. Neela of course, is a very well known and respected name in the industry, and she has recently retired as the Regional Director, Western and Central India, India Tourism Office of the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, Mumbai. She started her career in 1979 with Maharashtra Tourism and has extensive experience of more than 4 decades in various capacities, including her invaluable work with India Tourism ASEAN countries. She, of course, has worked extensively towards promoting domestic tourism that involved coordination and implementation of the ministry's schemes with the state governments, local bodies, and also coordination with travel trade organizations for promoting tourism within the state and the country. So we truly value her guidance throughout the planning and execution of this conference. I request her to take over and share her thoughts on the sessions. Neela ji.
Thank you, Vrushali ji. And namaste to everyone present here. Namaste to all the speakers who have been lined up for the day. This has been an excellent session for all of us yesterday and day before. Actually, the subject itself is so relevant in today's days, Corona and the new normal. Everyone is struggling to get back to normal, but we really do not have the time frame when and how. How we have put things in place. We are putting things in place. We are putting all the procedures, SOPs in place, but we still need guidance. We still need to know how others are doing. And as things have emerged out of our last 2 days discussions, that everybody has to go together. We all have to work hand in hand. We cannot work in isolation. Yesterday's subject was positives and the way ahead. In the positives and the way ahead, we most of the subjects and most of the speakers, very well-known speakers, emphasized on the sustainability. I think sustainability is the word, and sustainability is the thing that will take us ahead in future to fight with Corona, post-Corona sessions, post-Corona period. We had some brilliant deliberations yesterday. We are going to have some superb deliberations even today. Today, under the theme of the day, redefining experiences of incredible India, I think this is a subject which is close to everybody's heart. Most important thing is that what is going to happen soon or in immediate future, once this subsides a bit, is the domestic tourism. And we all are eager to learn and know from today's speakers how they are going to redefine the incredible India experience. The first session we will have is on redefining experiences, followed by how to sell India better. Now, everyone is wondering, how are we going to market India? Because it's not a crisis that which only India has faced. It is a global crisis. So everybody is trying to find out how to go ahead. International borders are completely shut. In that matter, it's only domestic tourism that can take us ahead. And how do we work on this? But there is always a ray of hope later. It's always, the borders are not going to shut forever. They will open maybe 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, maybe 5, 8 months ahead. But international tourism will start. But for that, how do we gear up from today? What issues or what points that we need to keep it in mind in working out the itineraries? We all know that destinations are sold 1 year in advance. So we must work on that. And today's speakers are going to talk to us about these issues. We have very well-known speakers from the industry, and they are going to talk to us about India inbound, and also going to talk to us about how to prepare for selling India ahead. So with that thought, I leave you with my colleague, and he is going to take you forward with these sessions. I'll hand over the screen back to Vrushali. Vrushali, thank you so much. Looking forward to the sessions ahead.
Yes, yes, of course. Thank you, Neela ji, so much for summarizing and aptly summarizing the whole all of the last 2 days together. So, an interesting theme for today's sessions as well, and a great lineup of speakers and panelists. For our first session of the day, we have Thomas Ramapuram from back with us and Aditya Dhanwatay to moderate the session. Aditya, of course, is a well known naturalist and conservationist, a safari operator, writer, nature tourism expert, and an eco entrepreneur. So, Aditya, request you to please introduce our speaker to us and moderate the session. Over to you, Aditya.
Thank you, Vrushali. Good afternoon, everyone, and Thomas, welcome to this session. Today, our first speaker today is Thomas Ramapuram. Thomas comes from a large family, based in South India, and they run a highly successful property. Used to be called Orange County, now it's rebadged as Evolve Bank. Thomas has been the joint director and sales director at the Orange County Resorts, and they have properties in Coorg, Kabini, Hampi. They've also picked up a very nice property called the Haina Kalahari Safari Lodge in Botswana. The Wallback brand is an industry leader. They have a phenomenal network and a massive credibility amongst their clients. Without much ado, I would like to bring Thomas in and let him speak on the coronavirus crisis and how they've evolved to be a better brand. Over to you, Thomas.
Thank you, Aditya and team. Thank you for the privilege of, for inviting me here to share some of my views. I'm happy to be here, and over the next, I think I have 20 minutes. I will take you through some of the strategies that we have done as a group to counter this particular crisis and the challenges that it brought about. And I've shared a presentation. If you could just share that, I can start my presentation.
Vrushali, can we have the presentation loaded? Thank you.
Yes, next. So Aditya, like I was saying, this came as a big shock to all of us. The entire lockdown, the entire corona. I mean, that's a no-brainer. It came as a shock to everybody. I just wanted to tell you our perspective from a leisure hotel perspective. Suddenly it just happened overnight. It was like the Berlin Wall when you built the Berlin Wall overnight. Things changed. So it was exactly, if I have to draw an analogy, that's the exact thing. On one day, police officers, health officers came to a resort, forcibly asked everybody to leave, shut it down. It was so blunt. That's what it was. All resorts were asked to slow, and we were left with a situation. We have more than 1,000 employees, and where do we put them? Some of them have come from West Bengal, from the north, from Nepal. What do we do? So these were all the questions that came. So these are just some of the things that the challenges that we faced. Can we go to the next slide? Yes, so these were the issues. There were 1,000 employees. The wages and salaries bill of a company like ours comes to almost 2 crores per month. There's no way we can avoid it. And revenues have literally come down to zero. It's not like a small dip or it's a gradual dip. Today it's there and tomorrow it's come down to zero. That was a very difficult pill to swallow. These are some of the questions that we had. I'm sure every hotel, not only us, every other hotel that went through this time had the same thing. Overheads. They say that the travel industry went through a tough time, but the travel agents section of the people don't have the kind of overheads that a hotel has. So we had interest payments to make. We had principal payments to make. How do you maintain a resort? So these were all the things that were coming, which were on our mind and what we needed to do. So, this is just to give you an idea of what we were going through. Yes, can we go to the next slide, please? So the next couple of slides I just want to tell you is, my mother lives in Coorg. This is our first property in Coorg, and she was saying that in 25 years she felt sad that the condition of the property, because it's a very naturally green place. So when you don't maintain it, the weeds and everything grow. These are actual pictures taken during lockdown of our property. So there was the actual situation, a very difficult time. I believe, I'm sure it was difficult for everybody, but for us it was very difficult. This was what it was. Can you go to the next slide? So these are the picture on the left on your screen is a restaurant. I mean, we were finding it difficult to maintain. There were no people willing to come. So it's set in the middle of this property is set in the middle of a 300-acre coffee plantation. I'm sure every hotel faced issues like this. If you could see on the picture on the right is a small bridge going to a pool villa. The weeds had grown over the bridge, and it was difficult to maintain it. We had a difficult time. So just to tell you, yeah, next. So yeah, this is another picture of one of the resort. This is a coffee museum right outside. You can see there's the maintenance was difficult. And yes, can we go next, please? So what do we do? As a hotelier, we had a couple of options. I think the go-to option would be, look, there is no business. I mean, there is nothing coming. I mean, what? I think we should just wait. I mean, hope that the government lifts the lockdown. At that time, people will travel, and we will look at starting our operations then. That was the go-to option. I think that was a no-brainer kind of option that anybody would have gone into. Shut your property down. There's no way anyways. There's nothing to do. There is nothing we can do. City hotels were slightly better off than leisure hotels. We are a pure leisure operator. We do not have city hotels. So when I look at my friends here in Bangalore, the city hotels were surviving. I won't say they were doing great business. I mean, they had quarantine revenue, as in the hotels were taken over for quarantine. Hotels were taken over by hospitals for rooms. Some hotels started food delivery. At least they were thinking a bit different and trying to make the best out of a bad situation. What could we do as a leisure hotel? Could we start food delivery in Coorg? There's barely any market over there. Could we start a quarantine facility in our property in Coorg? 100% no. I mean, I don't think there's anybody there in Kabini. You barely have a village next door. So really, none of those options were realistic for a hotel like ours. And what do we do? What does a leisure property in a remote rural location do? We have overheads. That is going to happen on April, May, June, and in June also when we were able to open, it was a half opening. What do you do? I mean, we're not sitting on piles of cash. I mean, so what is the way forward? So these are some of the things. The next few slides are some of the things that we as a group did, and we feel we were reasonably successful to tide through this time. And I just want to share with you over the next 5 to 7 minutes what we did. So there were some other hotels, like for example, I don't know if you know, Make My Trip actually went into food delivery. Here's a NASDAQ listed company, one of the pioneers in the online space. Obviously travel was not happening. They went into online. The other one on the right is Marriott on Wheels. Marriott in Bangalore started offering tiffin services, car services, offered to sanitize your hotel. I mean, sanitize your office. So these were some of the things that they did. Now we just move on to what we did. In the next slide is we decided that, listen, we have a good brand. I mean, like Aditya saying, by the grace of God, we've been in this business for 25 years. We have a database of very, very loyal customers. We have an amazing brand. Can we tell our people that, listen, why don't you plan a holiday? They won't even have dates on March 25th. You're not looking at a holiday at all. You're not even thinking of a holiday. You're just thinking, how am I going to survive the next couple of months? So you're definitely not thinking of a holiday. So what we came up with is after a lot of deliberation, is a kind of unique program called the Future Voucher Program. I believe there are lots of future vouchers right now, but in March 25th, I think we were one of the very first people. We came up with this option that, listen, everybody believes that this is going to end at some point in time, for sure. It's not going to go on forever. That's for sure. Why don't you, we're not asking you to give us a date. Give us, you take an open holiday voucher, and then you can use it anytime from now till March 2022. And you buy it right now, pay for it right now. We give you a certain discount, and it's an open holiday voucher. You can choose your dates when you want to travel. So we came up with this quite simple product, I believe. I think it's quite simple. It was just like, our regular guests, I mean, we are a premium product. And so when you're selling a room, usually at 30,000, you were buying this voucher at 25,000 or 23,000 rupees. So they were also thinking it's a good deal. It's like buying a stock when it's low and trying to encash it when it's high, similar to that. So, we started doing that. And then the next slides, I'll show you what are the strategies, because you can't just have a program like that and hope that things will, this thing. So we generated a lot of revenue. This is just a snapshot. I mean, I know you can't make out anything, but I just want you to just go in and see. In May, these are all my executives, and these are all the amount of revenue that they generated. In May, we were shut. In April, we were shut. In June, we were shut. So when a resort is closed, we were able to do this. And how we were able to do it is, probably in the next slides, I can just take you through. what worked for us? How did we market it? This was a very big challenge. I mean, on March 25th, when death counts are going so high, when the pandemic news is spreading across the world, there's no way I'm going to put a Facebook or digital advertisement saying, hey, come and holiday, this is the amazing program, come and buy this. They were not doing that. We had to be very delicate about it, because the negative reaction to something like that could be like devastating. I mean, at a time when when the coronavirus is shooting through the roof, is this what you're trying to do? So marketing it was very delicate. What we did was we had this database of customers, so we followed a kind of reactive marketing. So what we did is we called them and we told them about this thing. So it was a very slow kind of thing, because how many people can you call in a day? 30 people. So as opposed to a digital marketing, when you can say these many people in Bangalore, income about this and that, and shoot an ad, it's in 5 minutes you have that ad going splash to everybody in Bangalore and everything. So that's what we were used to pre-pandemic, but this time we had to be a little careful when to our guests and everything. And even managing it, our offices were closed. How do you run a sales team if you don't monitor them? They go, the kids, they just get very distracted. And our sales team at Evolve back for 25 years has been used to guest calling them picking the phone and just blocking the room and doing it. We were calling out to guests at a time when things were not good, and convincing them to come and stay with us. So we did all kinds of strategies, and they were not in office, so monitoring them. So we had these Zoom calls every morning at 9:30, motivation calls, and trying to do that. So then our customer mix was quite good, even pre-pandemic, direct versus travel agents. So these were all direct guests that we were getting into. And we sold these future vouchers only in a non-peak period. So even when we sell it, we're getting money now, but we have to service these customers later, and we don't want it to be a burden. So we blacked out the Christmas, the Diwali and everything. So the guests were also fine with that. They were saying we'll come outside of these periods. So when you look at it from a profitability perspective, these future vouchers, even today, as they're being utilized by different guests, are not being utilized in the Dasara season that just passed, or are not going to be utilized in the coming Diwali season. So as a company, this was a profitable kind of venture for us, because these are all being utilized when we have low occupancy, typically in a weekday or something, when we anyway have rooms. If we had to give up our Diwali business, then it's a double loss for that. Another thing that worked for us is, look, we I'm sure Aditya as well, everybody, we in March when we closed down, we take future bookings, as in we would have had bookings for April, for May, for June. We would have taken that money. It was in a bank account. People had planned their journeys, and they throughout February and March, they would have booked for April, May, June, like they were planning their summer holidays. At that time, Corona, we thought, would never affect us. It was somewhere in China. 1.5 crores worth of refunds. It was a tough call. I mean, I think it was an industry pandemic. Airlines are not giving our refunds. Hotels are not giving our refunds. It's not fair. And people were going to court, and insurance companies were this thing. We made a decision that, we're not going to keep this money at all. We disbursed all of this it was a huge task, because typically in a month we get 5 lakhs worth of cancellation. Our finance team was overawed, 1.5 crores worth of cancellation. Even the accuracy of each one of those bookings might have been some 500 bookings, and each one of those bookings, if anything goes wrong, at a board level, we decided that the right thing to do was to immediately give this money back to the people, obviously, because we're not able to take the check-in. If you took a confirmed booking in March for April, we're not able to do that. So we processed that. That gave us a lot of reputation. It gave us a lot of social reputation at a time when businesses are going down. And that also helped, we feel, in our future voucher thing. So this is one thing that we did. Can we go to the next slide, since I'm running out of time? And then another thing that we did was that we started a travel story kind of writing competition among our guests. The whole point was to keep them engaged. When you're shut, it's very easy to be out of sight, out of mind. We kept all our guests engaged with one thing or the other. If you're not buying a future voucher, enter into a story competition. So we ran this on social media. This we could run on social media. It had nothing to do with business. We ran this on social media. We did mailers. We had a website especially for this. There was not any story writing competition. If you go to the next slide, the winners, were not just, we of course had the grand winners who won a stay with us, but like we actually, said that the winners, on behalf of you, we're going to give to our local community, the local people, the provisions and everything. So in fact, if you see the bottom right screen, we even had the names of the winners on those bags, and we said, listen, Bindu, this family was given this particular thing because of your entry into the competition. So we made it a bit different and kept engaged with them. They were also engaged with us, and they were always in touch with us even during this lockdown. So these are some of the things that we did to keep people engaged. Can we go to the next slide, please? So our learnings, right? Of course, we generated a good amount of revenue at this time. Like I already showed you what our overheads were. That helped us. But I think even more important than the revenue generation was we were engaged with guests. And when you're engaged with guests at a time when the resorts are closed, when the resorts finally open, today, in any of my properties, there's no rooms. We're full, we're packed, and it's been the same from I think September onwards. There's been a surge in domestic tourism. It's every day I get up in the morning, I'm wondering if I'm dreaming or is it actually true. I feel it's a lot of the work that we did at a time when when things were bad, that is actually we are reaping the rewards of that at the time when things get better. So like ma'am was saying, inbound tourism, I don't think there's any doubt as to what is the outcome for tourism. It is going to be a revival for sure, and it's going to be a huge revival even for inbound. The only question is when. We don't know when. There's no doubt as to be what is the kind of revival. It's going to be a huge revival. What we're seeing in domestic, I have no doubt that we're going to see in inbound, but it's just a question of when. And for that when, we should be prepared, and we should not just think that at that time we will open up our offices and start to market. It doesn't work like that. Even today, we are planning to be in touch with our operators in the UK and Germany in different ways, conduct a webinar for them, be in touch with them, show them that we are still there, do things that, not sit tight and wait for things to borders to open up is the lesson I think we should learn from this. Can we go to the next one quickly? I can just finish with and I just want to take an example of another company. It's a typical travel agent. One of our travel agents, Classic Holidays, we have many travel agents who deal with us. This one travel agent decided again not to sit tight till the government eased any restrictions. There's a company called Classic Holidays in Bombay. One of our travel agents, what he did, the young guy there, you can see on most screens, his name is Rishabh Doshi. His father, Mr. Suresh Doshi, runs the travel agency. They're an old travel agency in Bombay. So, business came down. Most travel agencies I know sat tight and hoped that when this gets over, we will start back. What Rishabh and his father did is every day, you won't believe it, for close to 90 days, every single day from 11 to 1, they got a hotel to come and present their product. And they're a B2B travel agent. So they got all their network of other travel agents, their sub-agents to come and attend this webinar. So we had webinars, 700 sub-agents were there, conducted by Classic Holidays. Even me, you can see my face there as well. I was also one of the hotels. And he just kept being in touch with all his sub-agents throughout 90 days. In some days, he used to tell me he used to have 2 webinars. I'm like, are there that many hotels? It was from Maldives to Dubai to all over India. And now when the things got better, these offline travel agents are finding it a bit difficult because it's now the push is towards online and everybody is going through a booking.com. But this particular agent is actually doing really well. I feel, I could be wrong, but I just feel they've prepared really well at a time when everything was down and not sat tight. So I think that's another lesson we should learn from another travel industry, example. Yeah, next. Yeah, so I'd like to leave with, if you've seen the sitcom Suits, it's a lawyer and everything. So he says that, what are your choices if someone puts a gun to your head? So the typical response is you do what they say or they shoot you. He says wrong. You take the gun, or you pull out a bigger one, or you call their bluff, or you do another 146 other things. So there are various ways to respond to a crisis. I don't think anything is right. I don't think what we did may be right or may be wrong, but there are various ways. It's not, everything is gone and everything is done. There are various ways to respond, and how you respond will determine how you will fare when the crisis actually ends. So that is that's the end of my presentation. And yes.
Thank you, Thomas. That was an amazing overview of the strategy that you as Evolve Back has actually formalized. And I think many of the people who knew that the post-lockdown domestic would rebound to an extent. It's not fully open. It's not really rebounded in the way that we wanted to. But I think there is a fair bit of domestic surge happening in especially areas around source markets. So, and as people start to travel again in airlines, this will improve even further. And then eventually it will extend at some point to the inbound market as well. I think one of the key takeaways, from this, and this is probably why you are one of the most prominent industry leaders in this field, is because you have tremendous recall with clients, and which is why they keep coming back to you. I feel that this is a strategy that can be extended to the inbound clients as well. So what you have done, what Classic Holidays has done, is that not lose sight of what needs to be done, but constantly keep working at it. It's hard work. It's not going to pay back soon, but at some point there will be payback.
Correct.
So I think this is definitely something that a lot of people can learn from. We have another comment from one of the German tour operators, Claudia, who's our next speaker. She's also agreeing to what you're saying. And so that brings us to the end of this session. Thank you very much, Thomas. It was amazing. And we look forward to being in touch.
Thank you very much, Aditya. Thank you. Hello, Claudia. I hope you're doing well in Frankfurt, and it's better. I hope it gets better in Germany.
It's also wait that we can travel again. Right. So it's so very difficult at the moment. Yeah.
Yes, we missed ITB this time.
We hope the borders will open soon, because at the moment we also have a soft lockdown. It's called. Even it's not allowed to travel in Germany. For tourism you can travel, but not for tourists. If you are a business person, you can sleep in other hotels, but not for private issues. So we are looking forward, even for India. So we were we thought India will open in October or November, or maybe for the winter season, but I don't see it at the moment.
No.
I think maybe now we're looking at the quarter of next year, February, March onwards.
Yes, we hope so. It will be before March and not in the third quarter of 2021.
Excellent. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you very much. We'd like to bring Claudia in for our next session. Hi, Claudia. How are you?
Thank you. Fine. Thank you.
So Claudia is our next speaker, and she's the managing director of one of the largest wellness trip organizers in the world, especially in Germany. She's number one in Germany, and she's been doing this for over 2 decades now. And Trourism is one of the premier wellness experience providers in Germany. And this is one of the reasons why we have Claudia here for today's session. And Claudia will speak on how she would like to sell India better, in the next coming years. Over to you, Claudia.
Yeah. Hello all together, and it's a pleasure for me to have the time and to give speech here, because it's also very interesting for us what's going on in the world, and this pandemic has drastically affected global travel globally, and business are hungry for new approaches. Do we have the PowerPoint presentation? Can I get the PowerPoint presentation? This is this last slide, maybe the first one, the beginning. Yes. How would you sell Indian better? So maybe we can go to the next slide. So we are a tour operator specialized in health and well-being, and we are offering traditional Ayurveda in India since more than 20 years. And we are specialized in this kind of business, and we are on the market then more than 45 years. Our company was founded in 75, and we were selling health-related traveling in Europe of course. And then we started with Ayurveda, because Ayurveda is a holistic healing system. And you know, the Germans or the Western world are very interested in natural healings. So we saw the trends and the importance of Ayurveda, and also now yoga retreats is coming in the Western world since some years, and wellness and health tourism, we enlarged it with the Ayurveda, and Ayurveda is a very, very big business for us, especially for the Ayurveda in India. So it's a very important place that we can bring the people to India. Can we make next slide, please? This is only a sentence that we are living a golden age of the wellness vacation and a sort of retreat, boot camp, spa, reviving therapy sessions that promise to refresh body and mind. That's what the people are looking for. And then the people can send you back to your life more whole. So it's a holistic approach what people are looking for. I would like to tell about the fit philosophy. Can we go on with the next slide, please? The fit philosophy is a holistic approach, body, mind, and soul. That means in all our packages, because we are selling packages, in all our packages there must be very, very interesting components. Also mental health components, mental health sessions. We are looking for prevention. Prevention is very important in our country. So now people realize how important is the immune system to regarding the COVID-19 and to be in a good health. So the holistic approach means movement, means nutrition, means wellness, well-being, means healing in the nature, healing in the forest. And this is a holistic approach. It's not only one treatment, it's a holistic package. Next slide, please. We have our company, we are tour operator, and we are a fit group now. So we have enlarged our products, and we are producing catalogs, and of course we have a lot of web pages, and we have a theme diversification. So I think this is was also very important. It's, you know, health and wellness is a huge area. So we found out to make more the diversifications, because we have guests, they are looking for yoga and Ayurveda. We have guests, they are looking for classical cure. And we also have, of course, guests, they are looking for 5-star best wellness resort. So we have we produce different kind of catalogs that we can fulfill the wishes of the guests. Can we go to the next slide, please? So we make research also, what is the trend for 2020 and 2021? We found out that our guests are looking for health spas, for thermal cures, for medical wellness. They are looking for words like well-being, relaxation. Of course, they are looking, Ayurveda is a very, very important part of our business. Yoga, traditional Chinese or traditional European medicine. And very important, healthy nutrition, detox, fasting. In Europe, fasting is very well known. And at the moment in the summertime, we have had a lot of bookings for fasting in Europe. Weight management, then poor nature experience. We have so many requested for forest, wellness in the forest, or forest bathing. And then, of course, for the deluxe line, the people who have the money and they are looking for 5-star places. Then we have special teams, active leisures, and what's coming more and more, it's transformative wellness. It's a new word, and we are also speaking about emotional healing. So also this belongs to the request what we get, and we found what people are looking for at the moment. Next slide, please. So when we are created our packages, and we are thinking how we can do the marketing, we know that the vital components for a healthy holiday, what are the vital components for healthy holiday? That of course is the nutrition, it is the it's a movement, all kind of movement. It's walking, hiking, it's Pilates, and we found that, for example, now in Europe, in the summertime, so many people in Germany and Europe, they are going for hiking in the mountains, hiking in the hills. It's very, very common at the moment. And relaxation is a very important component. Mental health, mental fitness, so maybe brain shocking we are talking about. So we found a lot of interesting programs also via internet. Then natural remedies like water, like high healing climate, the poor nature experience. People would like to go in the nature. Maybe they would like to have a workshop in the nature. We have prepared, for example, some weeks ago, a workshop where we trained people from the travel agencies, and though it was not possible to train them in a special place, so we make a hiking for 3 hours, and we make small groups, and then we are hiking for. People can talk together, 8 people, and then we make a small presentation, and then we go and we have had a coffee on the way, and after 3 hours, so it was very, very interesting. It was very informative. People get a lot of information, and this is a new kind of hiking, not a webinar, but hiking training for the people from the travel agencies, and they enjoyed it very much. Of course, it was the summertime. Now it's the winter time, so we have not the good weather. We will see what we can do in the winter time when it's very difficult to make these trainings in a special place, because it's forbidden to be with more than 10 or 20 people on places. Then it came to energy treatments, so spiritual healing, energy medicine, alternative medicine. That are some keywords what we need for the future in our company, and I think that is also not only for our company, for all companies, because this is in the mainstream at the moment. Can we go to the next slide, please? No, one before. There's one slide before. One back. No, next slide. Okay. Yes, this slide, sorry. That was my mistake. Though time in motion, I make this slide because time in motion was before, but now with COVID-19, time in motion, it's affected us. The COVID-19 very, very much. So I showed something with what's currently, and then I show you what is the demand of the guests, what we found out, especially in the summertime, because we have had a business in our company about 30% from the business from last year. But this business was only in Germany and in the neighbor countries from Germany, like Poland and Czech Republic and Hungarian and Italy and Greece and and Spain, all those places where it was allowed to go for the people. So the demand is natural healing, detox, sustainability, self-tracking, a biohack. We get asked if you have places where we can use special watches or special equipment from the computer for biohack. Anti-stress, because a lot of people now, they are facing with not like depression, because with all this lockdowns and with all this restriction, we are not used. Then, of course, improvement of immune system, it's very important. Then demand for variety, also demand for security. Natural experience, what I told before, and self-optimization and coaching. This come also to that we have packages, that we have treatments for self-optimizations and coaching. Next slide, please. Also, what we found out, a healthy living. What is a new status symbol? Healthy living is a new status symbol. So before we have had other status symbol, but now we feel that the health is so very important. Now people realize the most important thing is the own health. So we have to do something for our health. And for this, we get the request for support or improve health. So packages for like prevention, or packages for people who have special diseases. And it is very important because in Germany we have health insurance, and normally if you get ill, we get all paid from the health insurance. But we have a lot of people in Germany. They are very, very sensitive, and they take care about their own health. So they would like to take the holidays. We have normally people have 30 days, between 20 and 30 days off. And then they would like to make a holiday, but they would like to do something for their health. So they would like to make a combination. So India is perfect places to make a holiday and to doing something for their health. So this combination is very interesting because they are looking for stress management, life coaching, and people realize that the diseases of today and tomorrow are the results of the individual lifestyle. Next slide, please. So we are looking for tailored, or guests are looking for tailored health and wellness, Ayurveda and yoga packages. This is our main packages, what we are selling in India. Of course, in combination with some round trips, but people are asking first is the health, wellness, Ayurveda package. The second is a round trip. This medical consultation, bespoken, is also a new word. Support and usage of the hotel, health and spa facilities. Configuration of individual treatments plan and wellness settle. So the people come and the guests come and they talk to the doctor or to the wellness consultant, and they look, this are my goals, and then they develop together the treatment plan. And individual personal and experts advice, that is also very important. And for example, a personal fitness coach or fitness trainer, mental fitness trainer, medical trainer, and of course a nutrition trainer as well. Next slide, please. Next slide. This is only for to give guests are aware of eating habits and that also influence the quality of life. For this, healthy nutrition, weight management, detox fasting, this was the packages what we have the most request in the summertime for Europe. But I think when India will restart, also because in combination with Ayurveda, it will be perfect. Food as medicine, that it was Ayurveda vegetarian food is very, very healthy food, and people are very interested in this Ayurveda healthy cooking. So Ayurveda sometimes could also, we have a lot of vegan people. Now it's developing here, vegan, so Ayurveda could also provide a lot for vegan people. And Ayurveda, when can you do in a way of a detox also. Next slide, please. So then also we have the combination of special themes and extra active leisure in health, wellness spa resorts we researched. We have people looking for adult-only holidays and or solo holidays or solo travelers. Then they are looking for family-friendly wellness hotels. Then they are looking, of course, for golf and spa breaks. I don't know if India has a lot of golf places, but this is more for the Europe because it was very in Eastern Europe. Then they are looking also for boot camps or fitness and health camps. So they would like to have 1 week with workshops and with a strong regime. And for walking holidays and activity holidays like hiking and a bicycle, we provide some tours, weekly tours with bicycle and with healthy nutrition. So that is also a combination of a special healthy prevention week. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah. So the private guest request for tailored, what I talked before, bespoken. So medical consultation, configuration of individual treatment, and then individual personal and expert advice. This is in 3 steps. What the package could include it to be successful and what the people are request now. Next slide, please. Next slide, yeah. The importance of healthcare and immunity. Natural immunity get more and more important for the future. So that was what we are talking. This is what our packages provide for the people to get in a very good health condition that the body can heal themselves. But for this, I must give the body the possibility to get healthy food and to get all the nutrition what the body is, and also the mind is needed for to stay in a good health. India is a birthplace of Ayurveda, and we see increase and the rise in Ayurveda travel. We have so many people, they are calling us. What do you think when India will open again? So we think we hope in the next months, but we don't have any information. And we hope it will go very, very fast because so many people are looking for, even for the winter time, people would like to go over Christmas and Sylvester for India, for Ayurveda. But I think it will not be possible. Maybe it comes a wonder and it will be possible. So let's hope us. Then boosting the immunity in combination with anti-stress therapy, with Ayurveda yoga retreats, to be more prepared and developing Ayurveda packages. And then we can create Ayurveda packages, especially for increasing the immunity. Next slide, please. Traveling within COVID-19 times, we must help to control the virus, distance and hygiene regulation continue. And the most important fact in a cleanse is in public, a minimum distance. I think you know this all, it's not new. We in Germany get informed to distance from 1.5 meters to other people and take masks. That's something new for us to take masks in the everyday life. And especially in public areas and transport and shopping center and cover face, wash hands, make space. And if you are unwell, get a test and not leave home for at least maybe 5 to 10 days. But every day we get new news, so new information. And the good news, what we have is, next slide, please. That after lockdown, tourism will restart. So many people who are asking and so many people would like to restart, would like to travel. Guests use their holidays to escape everyday stress, relax, empower, and to do something for their well-being. Request offers will change from healing cure to modern, healthy wellness holidays with health wellness treatments aligned to personal wishes with adventure and emotional and life fulfillment. This will be the most important thing what the people are looking for. And I think Ayurveda and your Ayurveda resorts have the best possibilities for the people what we can provide them. Ayurveda and yoga travel in COVID-19 times. Many requests what I told you, because the people realized improving health is very important and waiting for the restart. So we have to travel restriction, visa issues, quarantine. We have to know what's going on and we have to wait for the restart. And I know that all your resorts waiting also for the international tourism for the restarts. Motivate guests to do something for their health. This is what we are talking to the travel agency where we are working with, that to motivate guests who are coming in the travel agency to doing something for their health. The last important slide is from experimental to transformative wellness travel. Go to the next slide, please. Next one. So you found a lot of words. We also checked with our search what we are doing, that challenge on a deeply personal level, a personal growth behavior, a life-changing experience, performance, art, music, all this belongs together to body and mind and soul health. Extreme wellness, I talked about boot camps, happiness, self-healing, silent retreats, meditation in nature, and emotional healings. That are the most important things what the people were looking for. And I think it's also for people who are going to India. Next slide. Just to explain what our clientele is from our companies, that are the best ager with a high net income. Next slide, please. We are on the international market. We have a homepage. It's called www.spardreams.com. You found all information also in English and in 9 different languages as French and Spain and so on. Next slide, please. This is our distribution system with a lot of distribution channels, with online, with catalogs. We do a lot of marketing. We do webinars. So then we reach more than 100 million customers to inform the customer what's going on the market for health and wellness travel, and inform the people what's going on. And I hope we can inform the people soon that we can go to India again. Now, health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of diseases. So health is much more than the absence of diseases. So this is what we also found out. It changed a lot in the last years. This was my presentation, and my last sentence is, with future relaxation and hygiene regulations in hotel and opening the borders, we see a great potential for the future for wellness and health tourism, especially for Ayurveda, because with the current strong awareness of one's own well-being, the hour of health promoting travel is right now. Guests request health-related packages, so Ayurveda and wellness holiday will be great for this. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions.
Yes, I have many questions for you. That has been an amazing presentation. We had some audio issues in between, so some of the portion of your conversation, many of us could not hear properly. Okay. But I have one question. So when you talk of India as a destination, is it now post-COVID? How easy is it to sell India, and what are the other countries that vie for your attention as an experience provider?
I think when the border will be open, the airport will be open, and we will get a visa, people will come back to India, I'm sure, because Emirates is flying, Qatar is flying. For Emirates, you don't need a test. Emirates is now not asking for a negative test. At the moment, German people can go to Costa Rica, German people can go to Mauritius, to Maldives, to some places in the world. But it's and the Germans like to go there. In the morning, friend of me, they go to Costa Rica. They don't need a negative test. They don't get asked something. We hope that India will allow to or open the borders and because I think it's so important that people can go for a health holiday, a combination between health and a holiday, doing something for their health and a holiday. I see it positive.
Yesterday, 2 days back on the first session, we had a speaker from the United Nations who told us that the infection rate in India is about 1.5%. It's half of the global average, which is between 2.5 and 3%. Does this perception problem about India affect the ability for people to choose their destinations?
Yes, of course. But I think, in my opinion, if I go to a place for Ayurveda, I feel myself secured because it's a medical place. There are doctors. There are not so many people. And it's because more in a medical way. I think, for example, if you go for a normal holiday for Delhi or Bombay, maybe the people said, oh, maybe it's a little bit dangerous, too much people. But if they go to a special place for a health holiday, a medical holiday, I think people feel secured. Maybe they will not go so much out of this place for excursions. They will stay in the place and follow the procedure.
You are such a specialist company and you have extremely high expectations of the people who are your service providers, the hotels that you choose. I think does that offer a degree of satisfaction to your guests who choose holidays through you?
Yes, of course.
So when you said, when you sell wellness holidays now, many a times you are selling for more than 10 nights, often 14 nights, and or even 21 nights. That is basically above and beyond the period of quarantine in a country. Will that help you sell places better?
Do you mean a shorter period?
Yes, because they
of
can.
Course,
then
we can also. In Europe, 7 days, it's very common. But in Europe, you don't have long distance. When you go to India, we have a distance for, I think, 14 hours. And 14 to 15 hours from Europe when you go via the Arabic countries. So that, and then for 7 days, it's a short period. So most of the people would like to stay 10 and more days. And also, if you do Ayurveda, I think it's better to stay at least 10 days to get more effort of this. And I think in the other way also to stay long for maybe for 1 month and longer. This could be also a good for the winter time. Yeah, if you can stay, I don't know how long we can get the visa, but normally we have a lot of older people, they are retired, they have time, they can stay longer.
So you actually see a huge rebound of travelers coming to India once the visas open up. Long stay visas or options are available, multiple entries are available over a long period of time, flight connectivity is improved. So I think this is a very positive sign of things coming from you as a supplier, and many of people who are listening into this conversation are actually your suppliers, who provide you rooms and hotels in India. And I feel what you've said is very positive, is very encouraging for them. And I think we just wait and look forward to reopening of borders and more flights to happen. And I'd like to thank you for your time and for the exhaustive and amazing presentation. It really provides an insight into what you as Trourism provide to your customers and how detailed your itineraries are about wellness and mental well-being. My last question is that how big a role does spirituality play into wellness? And are the customers in the German market aware of this aspect in India?
I think the people who are related to Ayurveda, they know the spiritual aspect, and it's coming more and more common also in Germany, the spiritual aspect. That means holistic, holistic, the spirituality belongs to holistic package. And people are getting more and more, meditation, or maybe we are in a Christian continent that are spiritual aspects. And I think it gets more and more important, and the people are interested in this kind of traveling also.
So this has become a part of lifestyle, I believe now, especially in Germany. Is it just Germany, or is it extended to other European countries as well?
I think also to other European countries like Austria, Switzerland, Luxembourg, Italy. All the people, in my opinion, who have a relationship to health and who think for the self-healing, they know that they have to do something. They have this relation to the spirituality. They are thinking holistic, in a holistic way.
Right. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
So on that note, we bring this session to an end. We'd like to thank Claudia. We'd like to bring Neela back on stage. Neela, do you have something for Claudia?
Claudia, it was a wonderful session. It was pleasure listening to you, and something which is, you are so hopeful. So we are very hopeful to have, German market waiting for India to start. And really grateful to you for such lovely deliberations and super presentation. So we look forward to borders to open and then receiving tourists.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to join.
Hi, Sanjeet.
Thank you. All the best for you.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome, Sanjeet.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here, Neela, and seeing you after a long time, but
Yes.
such a pleasure.
How is the scenario, Sanjeet? I think we are waiting for Miss Amrit to join.
Right.
She has some technical
Well,
problem. I think she's unable to join, I guess. Sanjeet, how is it? How is the scenario? I mean, I've been reading your publication every day, and it is picking up uh, in small segments. And as everybody is talking about only domestic tourism, what is your call or what is your take on that, Sanjeet?
no, Neela, let's get one thing very clear. If you want to send the right message to the world, saying that you're open for tourism, that I mean over here inbound tourism, then first domestic tourism has to grow, because that is the confidence which you're telling the world. Look, the Indians are traveling to these destinations; they are enjoying themselves. So why not you? So for every country, the foreigner first looks, oh, so their domestic tourism is moving around. Good, people are traveling. I know it's safe. I can also do the same thing. So I think that's the underlying message, which I think the Ministry of Tourism, everybody has understood it, but I think that's the key word to tell the world that domestic tourism India is open, and now you're welcome, and we are all ready to welcome you. And you know the figures: is Indians and domestic tourism is what, 1.8 billion trips. That's a lot.
Yes.
It's large. And inbound
Yes.
is close to 13 or 14 million. So it's a minuscule kind of numbers we're talking about. So from that point of view, if this happens, I think we would be opening the right gates, and I hope a lot of people come in with that.
Sanjeet, this is also an opportunity to encash on all that outbound which has been put on hold by people. I think convert that outbound into domestic tourism. This is one bigger opportunity to explore the lesser known areas, lesser known destinations within the country.
Of course, that goes without saying. In fact, every outbound agent now, in fact, or most of them have now got packages coming in, which is all domestic packages and all that. And some of the leading companies, what we say, tour operators of India, are actually selling B2B packages to the travel agents, and telling them, if you don't have packages, buy it from us and sell it to the customers. Because I think what I call is revenge tourism is waiting to start. People are tired of being locked down for the last 7 months, and everybody who's waiting is waiting. Okay, just give me a chance, and I want to travel. So staycations has started. It just shows that people are really keen to travel. It's not otherwise staycation. Nobody would do that. But the sheer fact I'm doing that means I really want to go somewhere. So people are driving around in about 3 or 4 hours or 5 hours distances wherever they're staying. I think the moment they have more packages and more, I won't use the word lucrative, but I'll say more safe packages, because the issue at the moment, everybody, is that I hope the hotel or the place we're going to stay is safe. They don't trust the public transportation, so they all want to drive on their own, which is rightly done, and they want to go and stay in these safe places. And now I think gradually, slowly or gradually, but people have realized that airline is very safe. That's the right way of going ahead. So if the airlines are safe and they can travel a few hours in India, I think there are a lot of people who like to, the north would like to explore the south, the west, the north, the west, east. So I think we are big enough country. Actually, we can fit 3 Europes in India. So technically speaking, if you look at it, we are a big enough country to go everywhere and explore our own country. As I think it was, like it's said in one of the books, that it'll take me about 2 lives or maybe 3 lives to see every corner of India and understand every culture and position India has. So I think this is a good time for all of them to do it. And the good part is they want to do it because at least they all know that if there's a problem, they can come back home instantly. There's no problem. Or they know somebody around somewhere who will help them. Once you go abroad, you have issues. Let's be very honest. You need to return back to your country, because the moment anybody falls ill, the first thing they want to go back home. But then there could be problems of border opening up and stuff like that. So those are some issues which we do get stuck with. But I'm hoping things will very soon open up. And I think the moment you say you can travel, I think personally that all the hotels will be pretty full. And I mean, all the hotels means at least 2-star and above, because people somehow believe that the sanitization levels and on the COVID compliance level over these are there. So I think once every hotel gets a COVID compliance certificate from the government of India, they're all good to go.
100%. 100%. Aditya is here. Sanjeet, I don't know whether you have had a chance to meet him before. Aditya is completely into wildlife and nature, and he specializes in that. So, Aditya, what's your thought on what Sanjeet has just said?
I agree with Sanjeet. As tourism has slowly opened up, we see a lot of hotels, especially around source markets. They do quite well. Places around Bangalore, Hyderabad, Delhi, Bombay, Pune. They've done quite well. In fact, our previous two speakers from Evolve Pack and CGH have seen over 90% occupancies in their properties. From September onwards, and this is really a mirror on the ability of domestic market, and often we feel that it is undervalued as a supply chain, and this just shows how strong our domestic markets can be where it comes to looking at destinations, even new destinations. Some of the less visited destinations are now doing incredibly well because people are looking for one-off places. They're looking for some kind of social isolation. They're looking for longer stays. Villas are being sold incredibly well. In fact, many of the villa operators between Mumbai and Pune around the Western Ghats are completely sold out. So this just shows, the ability for domestic tourism to really boost hotel occupancies at a time when net revenues have been zero in the past 6 months, and many of the hotels have actually struggled for operational incomes. So I think as more people get to travel and flights become the norm, you will see tourism rebound back to even the further reaches across India, and then eventually inbound will start.
Aditya, you're absolutely right, and I would go further. One point saying that I spoke to one of the agents in Chennai, and he's an outbound agent. Neela asked me that question, that's why I'm saying that. And now he's actually taken into 12 bungalows around Chennai, and he's giving them out on for a week and 10 days, and he's sold out. And he says, Sanjeet, I couldn't believe it when he mentioned all that. He said, yes, and those bungalows are, and he gives it for 10 days. It's not cheap, I would say. They're reasonably expensive. That's the word I use. But they're all sold out. So people want to get out of the houses. I think that's what they all feel, that you've been staying in your, well, it's not four walls, but in your houses, and you just want to now get out. And you want to get out for safety part. They don't want to take a chance on with family and others. So that's what I think will happen. And I call this revenge tourism. So the revenge is waiting to happen. The moment you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Trust me on that. The domestic tourism will do that.
I had two questions for you, Sanjeev.
Sure.
I've been in this trade, especially inbound, for over 2 decades now. At every travel conference, it eventually I feel that India still continues to suffer from a perception problem. There's a perception problem about health. There's which is amped on because of the coronavirus crisis and how extremely communicable it is as a disease. Second is health and safety. Sometimes food as well, and the ability to often overwhelm the people that want to come to India, but are just not able to come to terms with it. As a trade magazine, how do you suggest we? I know you're not just a trade magazine. You are associated with Times of India. You're associated with publications all over the world, from Middle East to Europe. How do you think we should be solving this problem of perception?
Aditya, I wish I had a crystal ball. I could see and I could tell you what to do that. But please, Aditya, I'm not going to hide away, but I like to mention two things to you. We have to accept one thing globally. When we talk about tourism and people traveling to a new destination, word of mouth is very, very important. Whatever we may say, you may advertise, you may do internet, you may do social media, but still, word of mouth becomes extremely important. And whenever I'm going to a new destination or whatever it is, anywhere in the world, people do tend to find out if somebody's traveled there, or they know an Indian or something of that kind, and they go and speak to them. And we have a population problem. Don't forget, we are, I would say, we're heading then being number one in the largest population in the world. From that point of view, if I was looking at it, then you'll find an Indian in every corner of the world. And sorry to say, but I think we are not very proud Indians when it comes to talking about our country. We love to. I shouldn't say that, but we love to criticize it and say this is wrong, that is wrong. But if we say it is all right, but if somebody else says it, we don't like it. But we don't realize we say it ourselves, and we at more than often we talk about the negative parts of the country or the feelings rather than the positive parts. We don't tell people that if you're in trouble, an Indian will stop and walk an extra mile with you to take you to your destination, or help you, and sometimes even bring you to your homes. You have heard those success stories, but we never talk about that. We'll take, no, there's a problem, there's not a problem. So that happens all the time. So I think we really need to live with that, and maybe as we go along gradually, things will change. Anyway, since Amit is here, I don't want to take on more longer than this.
I think we leave both of you to start the session. Thank you, Sanjeet. Thank you so much. Welcome, Amrit. Welcome.
I do apologize. I'm so sorry. Technical issues, which they didn't happen during the trial, and here we are. So sorry. Apologies to everyone.
Amrit, welcome. It's a pleasure, and technology is something which we all have to live with. We can't control it, but it's a part of our life, so we learn to live with it, even if it gives us trouble. Okay, friends, those who are here, since our expert is here with us today, I'd like to get the show off the ground, and let's talk about a lot of things. But before I begin, I want to say a few things. Please understand that today we are in a it's a war-like situation. I call this personally, we are in a World War III in a way, because this pandemic, which you see is all over the world, every country is trying to save its nationals. So it's a war and trying to save the life of everybody. That's what we are doing. In this whole bargain, businesses have taken a beating, but I think more than anything else, travel and tourism has been brought down to its knees. They are the ones who have been the biggest hit. Could be inbound, we talk about outbound, we don't talk about domestic. Everything has really come to a standstill. I really wish we all had a crystal ball we could look at and predict the future. Since we can't do all that, so we have to live with it. But now, this brings me to a very important question at the moment, is that during this time, what I call this stop, I consider this like a train going to a railway station. We are stopped here for a few months, maybe, then it'll start all over again. So during this stoppage, have we learned anything? Have all the people in travel and tourism, have we really learned anything? What did we do? And have we realized how to do things better, and what are the issues we in fact, sometimes I feel this is God-given chance to improve and be ready with the new normals. People talk about new normals. What are they going to be? How are they going to affect us? Well, I'm not saying anything. We'll wait for our expert to talk about that. Now, when it comes to inbound tourism, specifically, that's what we're here for. We compete with the world. We're just not competing in India. We're competing with the world. The issue are a lot of important factors play a part, that why should a person from abroad come to India? Especially if it's somebody from Europe or UK, why do they go to Singapore and Thailand? Why would they go to the Middle East? They will not come to India. So there are lots of issues which we have to look at that. So today we have our expert who's come all the way, and she's here all the way from UK, and she's going to tell us a few things. But before I do that, let me introduce her. The guest today is Amrit Singh. She's the co-founder and managing director of TransIndus. As the name suggests, TransIndus is a London-based travel company specializing in Asia. With 30 plus years of marketing, TransIndus today stands proudly as a true Asian specialist, providing great luxury experiences in over 25 countries in the region. She doesn't just do India. I think she does the whole 25 countries of the region. Amrit was born in Yangon, which was earlier we knew it as Rangoon. raised in India and studied in London. Her career in tourism and hospitality started with a marketing role at the Oberoi Hotel. Further, she went ahead and launched Trans India Indus way back in the 1990s. A common trait throughout Amrit's life and career has been her love for discovering new places. She has visited a majority of the countries they promote and strongly believes in first-hand experiences. So she will go and visit the place before she suggests it to you. So you can be safe that you can be rest assured that she has seen it. Even today, happiness to her is exploring new destinations alongside her team and helping clients fulfill their wanderlust and experience of the best of Asia. Welcome, Amrit. Such a pleasure to have you with us today. And before I go ahead with some questions, I would like you to give your opening comments, please, and let's hear what you have to say. Amrit, over to you.
Thank you very much, Sanjeet, and thank you for that very evocative introduction. And I thank you for it very much. Now, as you've said, I've been an enthusiastic advocate of tourism for well over 30 years. And my enthusiasm in all that time has not waned. On the contrary, I'm encouraged year after year. And in particular, what's happening in India. And I'd love to hopefully carry on evolving in this industry and promoting it for decades to come, hopefully. Now, we've been discussing how diverse and beautiful India is overall. Every speaker that we've had come through over these last 3 days has spoken about what India offers, how diverse and beautiful it is. And save for the present year, tourism in India has been growing, and we've been competing with the best of the destinations out there in the world. But why do our numbers remain lower than where we expect them to be? And we can consider all sorts of things of how to promote them better, how to reach our audiences better, what can we do to encourage those who are not yet encouraged by India tourism. A long time ago, back in the sort of mid-90s, India Tourism Department, the government of India, did something very wise. It decided that it would be responsible for developing infrastructure, for airports, for roads, for railways, for licensing hotels, resorts, etc. And then it left the actual tourism part to the private industry, to the private developer. And these private sector development has really excelled in that time. With individual enthusiasm, with individual insight, we have developed beautiful hotels, whether they're the palaces or the smaller, more intimate resorts. They have really excelled. We've got everything from the 2-star right through to the deluxe palace hotels. Investments have been made by the private sector in infrastructure, in transportation. We've developed cruises, we've developed luxury trains, and so on. We've evolved our services. We give a very targeted service where clients are received beautifully, they're handled very well, they are escorted. Our guides have been taught to learn English. They've learned much more about their heritage and are able to communicate about this better. And this gives us a very solid base for our tourism to encourage. Now, what are we encouraging when people are coming to India? We've been encouraging our history, our architecture, the nature, spirituality, harmony, safaris, etc. We've been promoting, in my view, the physical aspects of tourism, what India as a country has to offer. We've got the mountains, the deserts, the beaches, the architecture, the cultural history, and so on. So that's been the thrust of our tourism over the last 30 years. And so I've gone off during this period of cessation, when we've had a time to reflect and think and see what else we can do to encourage more, encourage better. And I've looked at how other people, other countries, say for instance, countries that have a similar culture to us, a diverse culture that goes back thousands of years, millennia, as we do. For instance, Japan, the Latin American regions of Peru, Vietnam, certain regions of Europe like Italy and so on. What is it that they do to promote their industries? And I've taken two. If you look at, say, for our closest neighbors, that is trying to develop its tourism and has managed a little bit more successfully than us. We take Japan and see what is it that they do. The top three things that Japan is doing at the present moment is talking about the ease of travel within India. It's assuming that everyone knows about Japanese culture, about its cultural history, about its nature, about its the spirituality that exists there. So they are promoting the ease of travel to Japan and within Japan. They're promoting the client's personal safety aspects and security. They're promoting the well-being of tourists when they're within Japan. The lack of a language barrier, they're suggesting that everything exists in English and they will not have issues or problems when they arrive in Japan. They're talking about cost efficacy. And then they're going on into cultural diversity and secularism, and then the social acceptability of foreigners when they arrive within their country. The same is probably said of Singapore and Peru and so on. They talk about how tourists can travel easier, safer, cleaner. And I think in this post-COVID world, if we were to do something similar, we would achieve a slightly better result. We can take solace in the fact that people do know about our cultural history. They do know about our diversity. They know about our mountains, our beaches, our deserts. And any well-versed tourist is going to consider those things and then look at where they can find them. And what then tips the balance for India or Japan or Peru or any other nation is how safe they'll be there. So I think we can take that on. And in order to achieve that, the government can take a role here. India Tourism Department can take a role. They can encourage safety and security aspects, but the private sector also can. And I think if we, for instance, come together and make sure that we have one code of operation, we each talk about the safety aspect and we articulate it and we practice it for each one of our tourists, then it will be a good thing. I think we are very well placed. Tourism within India now is growing for domestic tourism, and you can practice it there. Refine the systems, refine that particular way of operating. So make sure every single transport operator knows the standards that they need to follow. Every hotel needs to know the standards they follow. So in that way, we can create a corridor and a space for safe travel within India, but if we work together as an industry. So that
Amrit, sorry, you said something very important, and I want to, and you're underlining a fact which I really would want to raise this as my first question to you is that, all right, I understand the tourism product, what India has is fabulous, and there's ample of that to see. But when you compare us to different countries like Japan and others, and we talk about the ease of travel, the safe to travel, so it's the whole environment which you're talking about. And for example, even the air you breathe, we've had some problems in India about the air, and that's why tourists didn't come in. But my question to you is, see, all that is not, I know the whole experience of travel and tourism is an experience completely with everything put together. But when it comes to tourism, especially with the Ministry of Tourism and all that, they're only responsible for a few things, which I think they're giving you in a great on a platter. But when it comes to things like the air you breathe, or the culture of people and how we behave, and how does one handle that?
It is again, it's a decision that we need to make. Firstly, the decision will be, what is it that we want our domestic people, what do we want our own community to breathe, before you consider what you want the tourists to breathe. So you cannot really talk about tourists breathing better air before really considering your own communities. So that is a much greater problem and issue. And the way we as a company have generally overcome it is avoid the peak seasons or the fog in Delhi, for instance. We will suggest to clients not to travel there. Of course, a great many travelers will want to visit these places there over the Christmas, New Year period. It's a great time to travel. So we'll take them off to other places, and then just before or just after. So these sort of things can be handled for tourists, but I think the decisions first must be for the domestic population. If we can't handle that, then tourists aren't really, you can't do anything about the tourists.
We need to be comfortable before we invite all the people to come in. Okay, let me come straight to a very important question which I want to ask you. And since you're based in UK, there's a lot of concepts about perception of every destination. And I know you're competing, because suppose somebody in the UK wants to travel, he has a lot of destinations to choose from, which is going. But my point to you is, everybody has had a perception of India earlier. Now, after this so-called lockdown, if I may use that word, or this, what my question is, and the new normals which people are expecting, because everybody's expecting things should change. You can't travel in coaches. You need to be traveling alone. You need to keep your safe distances, stuff like that. So my question to you would be that, keeping the new normal in mind, and what the other countries are doing, where do you think India is? Are we sending the right message out? Are we doing the right things? Are the perception changing? Once things open up, and I'm sure the vaccine should be out very soon, then would we get larger numbers into India?
See, Sanjeet, for that, I think we can go back. Traditionally, we had India operated largely smaller groups or tailor-made holidays. I remember a time when visitors would come to really experience the culture of India and stay for 28, 30 days. That was the average duration of a holiday. So they could absolutely immerse themselves. India then became a much more mainstream destination and took on group tourism in a big way, promoted by some of the larger companies. And it's that, I think, which will be hit. The smaller, more targeted, tailored, bespoke holidays will persist. They will possibly be perhaps smaller in number, but longer in duration. That is the way we as a company feel that we will be going. We will suggest to travelers with sustainability, overall worldwide sustainability and reduction in air travel, we will be promoting longer stays, fewer flights, and a more immersive experience. So although numbers may decline, the revenue from tourism and the tourism per se can continue to flourish in India. So I wouldn't focus on numbers. I would focus on the experiences and the duration of stay and the capacity for tourism to fulfill that.
Oh, that's good. So that means I'm not looking at numbers, but the number of days they're staying. So we're going to actually offset each other. So that's if somebody stays a week extra, it's like another tourist coming in, or maybe two tourists coming in. Point well appreciated. But tell me one more thing, that when it talks about, you talked about culture and India and culture and all that. Is there anything else which tourists look at when they come to India? Because there's so many other things we have.
It's 17:30.
Apart from the culture part of it, things like we talk about adventure, we talk about wildlife, we talk about Ayurveda. There's a host food, so much beaches. We have the biggest whitewater rafting in the world kind of situation. So what are the other things which actually the tourists look for in India, or is it predominantly culture?
No, I think India's history and its archaeology, its ancient sites are things that we can promote much, much more. We take them for granted. We feel that these monuments are there. And when visitors come, they will naturally visit those. No, we need to speak about them much, much more. Our history and our culture and our architecture go hand in hand. And when we talk about culture, we need to include those in far more vocally, far more explicitly. We need to promote Hampi as a region, for instance. We need to go back and start promoting Ajanta and Ellora, for instance. We need to go back and talk about Varanasi once again. When we talk about Varanasi, it's just a destination, as a part of a Northern India holiday. Ajanta Ellora barely gets a mention these days, and Hampi is for the third, fourth time visited. But when people are going off to Angkor Wat, it's the main attraction. So now, these sort of cultural heritages, these architectural feats of our history are what we need to speak about and expose and be far more explicit about. Not being an adventure tourism expert, I think if we were to promote our adventure tourism, we will first have to talk about the safety aspects, develop that, develop very, very strict and absolutely robust systems and structures, and follow training before we're really able to go out and promote those in the mainstream. There are people who will go off and experience these whitewater rafting experiences in India, but they really are the accomplished and expert in their field. If we're to promote it in the mainstream, we'll have to evolve those, and I think they're a little way off at the present moment.
So
one more aspect, the wildlife safaris. We have the tiger, and we promote safaris, but I think again they can be better managed. In every single park, I know Aditya promotes some of the more remote parks for a more sustainable and for a better experience where you don't have too many tourists. But largely, if we are to open up our parks and promote wildlife safaris, we've really got to get them right. At the moment, they're negative. And once people arrive in search of the tiger, wanting to see tigers in India, but the overall experience is not as it should be. And we need to develop that, refine it, maybe even consider fewer tourists, charge more, have fewer, but improve the experience.
Okay, okay, for example, I understand where you're coming from, but my point to you is, if it's culture all the way, all through, all the tourists which you send into India from abroad into culture part of it, how many of them go and see the Taj Mahal?
They will see it once. They may see it a second time. Absolutely all of them will do. Much more these days, people are perhaps starting off in Kerala, for instance, and then as a second visit coming to the north. So Kerala has changed the dynamics of India tourism, for instance. In 30 years, we've seen Rajasthan now neck and neck with Kerala, whereas Rajasthan and the Golden Triangle was always number one. If Kerala has made advances, but they focused on nature, and they focused on their beaches, and they focused on a very personal experience. If you look at the hotels Kerala has developed, they're all small, and they're all based on experiential travel. And that's the direction we have to go. Visitors can go and see cultural history anywhere in the world. But why would they pick you? They would pick you because they want a relaxed experience, they want an immersive experience. And if we can give that through a connected operation where our hotels operate, imbibe those values, where our transportation imbibes those values, where our airlines imbibe those values, and we can then give a collective experience together.
So God's own country is doing very well. I'm really happy to hear about Kerala. That's wonderful. I don't know how much of time we have at the moment, but I really want to ask you one question, if there is time giving us. Suppose if I were to make you if you were the, let's say, the Minister for Tourism, just give yourself this thing. What is it that one thing which you would like to do a change, which you think will get us a large number of tourists coming to India and having a good experience from culture point of view or other part of it? What is that thing which you think would really India needs at this time?
Okay. India has a wide network of tourism offices throughout Europe, in the Americas, in each of the markets that they promote. And I'm afraid I don't think that they have been given the jurisdiction to look at the individual markets that they operate in and respond to the needs of those markets. Everything is governed from Delhi, and if I was tourism minister, I would promote better ambassadors into each of these tourism heads, and I would give them independence to be able to respond to the individual needs of that source country's tourism requirements. For instance, a Spanish traveler wants to travel in the summer months to India. The UK visitor wants to travel in the winter months. You cannot have one promotional activity out of Delhi governing tourism throughout Europe. You need then to not really be focused on giving the same message of come to India for its culture, come to India for its holistic health, come to India for its mountains. You need to say, come to India for an immersive experience where you will have a relaxed, enjoyable holiday and see culture. You will have, you will be taken care of and experience tradition. You will enjoy your meals and be hosted by people who value your presence in the country. So that immersive experiential connection with the physical aspects of India's tourism.
Okay, fair enough. So let's. I think that's something which we like to ponder about, because we have our own. Everybody has their own limitations. I'm not saying that everybody can do different things. It's not that I blame Ministry of Tourism, but I think they have their working environment which they have to work with.
Absolutely, everybody has. Yeah, you put me in that position, so I thought that's what I'm.
I want to understand, because that's what the perception is, because these are perceptions. So we understand. So that's what we need to look at and change for the future. What about earlier? I know all of you, most of the foreign tour operators used to complain about visas and flights and all those issues. But now with this e-visa coming in and the whole thing, the way systems are generated, is there any bottleneck in terms of flights and visas and other things which you think, or now you think is a smooth sail in India?
The e-tourist visa is a good thing. It's in keeping with the rest of the world, so it shows that we're not lingering behind in any way. But the process on arrival at the airport can certainly be streamlined. That remains somewhat of a bottleneck. So your first experience in India is kind of negative. There is always a very large queue. You need to present printed documents. Those are then double checked and so on. Now, if there is an e-visa, if it has been issued, and if the traveler is carrying it with them, I don't think we should have such a negative experience on arrival. The airport experience can be improved a little bit. After that, I believe the private sector takes over, and that's very smooth. And I think that's running through especially well. So kudos to all of the people on the seminar. They've all done a brilliant job. But I think if I was to again be involved in the governance of anything, it would be an improvement of the experience on arrival in India.
Okay, because I was sorry, that's a good point which you mentioned, but I'm a little surprised because I've been getting some very good feedback from people that now with the e-visa things are much smooth because there are different queues for foreigners, different queues for Indians, different queues for RNI. So anyway, if you feel
it's always a bottleneck though.
Okay, I agree. If that's what it is, that needs to be further smoothened out. We shall look into that. But that's something because we want everybody to go back and come with an answer saying, "Oh, it was a great experience." That's what we really would want them to do. My last question: we talk about what we call is let's talk about the British tourist or let's forget it. Let's talk about the repeat tourists. Everybody talks about repeat travelers coming into India. A lot of them are. In fact, if you do speak, there's a certain percentage of repeat travelers who keep coming into India. Like you yourself said, sometimes they go to South India and Kerala and God's own country. Sometimes they'll come up north. Otherwise, they go to Banaras, which is the longest living city in the world. So kind of situation. So what is it which what you think we need to do more to get more of these people coming in, the repeat travelers?
In order to invite repeat travelers, the message needs to keep going out about the diversity of India. And I think we're doing fairly well with that. As a company, from what I can say, is that 50% of all of our tourists coming into India are repeat visitors. They may take 2 or 3 or 4 visits into India. So I think we're doing quite well. And India overall is doing very well with the repeat visitors. You just need larger numbers of those. In order to promote that, I think we have to open up some newer regions. The regions, for instance, in the northeast of India, still don't attract as many people as they could. We have tremendous opportunity there. The Darjeeling Hills, going on beyond into the tribal regions and going off further into eastern India. If we were to promote those, and you can promote those by suggesting a more relaxed experience there. Not everybody wants to come and be ticking off monuments, and repeat visitors often, they're older, they're comfortable with India in their first visit, and they want to be able to travel deeper and longer and into other regions. And I think promoting one region at a time, we can do better.
Amrit, I understand that clearly. I know it's time to go. Vishal, just one last question. Suppose these bottlenecks were not there, which you just mentioned. Would I get 100% repeat clients? You're saying 50% of the clients are coming as repeat clients.
It's a big world. It's a big world, Sanjeet. And I'm not sure that everybody, and there is a hunger for, if you're a traveler, if you're a tourist, you want to be able to go out and experience everything. And if you only had 100% repeat visitors, it would become a dull place. So I think what you want is new blood coming in every year. You only want to aim for 50% repeat and 50% new, younger visitors coming in.
All the bottleneck, you're still getting 50%. Hats off to you. Anyway, thank you very, very much. That's
You're
wonderful.
very welcome.
Great to hear this thing, and I give it back to Aditya and Vrushali to give you a round.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that session. I think it was amazing. The suggestions were tremendous. Just amazing session. Right, Aditya? What would you say?
Yes, absolutely
Thank you
incredible.
very much.
Insightful conversation from Amrit as well as Sanjeet.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you, guys. Thank you
Aditya,
very much.
Vrushali, Sanjeet, thank you very much for having
Thank you.
me. And I apologize once again for my late arrival.
Oh, don't worry.
I hope that you found something in that session that might be of value. Thank you again.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for that wonderful session. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, our next session is a panel discussion themed Inbound the Real Picture Ahead. For this session, we have Mr. Pronab Sarkar, Mili, Sham, Wittmann, and Kushal Desai ji as panelists, with, of course, Aditya Dhanwatay as the moderator. Aditya, I request you to please introduce our panelists to us and moderate the session. Over to you.
Thank you, Vrushali. Welcome all panelists. This is the last and final session for this conference that we have. And the subject, we have had incredible speakers, we've had incredible panelists, a wide variety of discussions. To sum it up, we are looking at something called as the real picture ahead for us as a country, as a destination. And for that, we have Mr. Pronab Sarkar, Mr. Desai, and Ms. Wittmann joining us from Germany. Mr. Sarkar is the president of ITO, which is the umbrella body for tourism in India. He has previously worked for over 40 years in the tourism trade, and he's one of the founding members of a destination management company called Swagatam Tours. Welcome, sir, to this session. Next, we also have Mr. Kushal Desai. Mr. Desai is the chairman and managing director of Apar Industries. He has a science degree in electrical engineering and a business degree from Wharton School, which are part of University of Pennsylvania. He's previously held positions as managing director of GE Lightning in India. And Mr. Desai also works on the board of governors of DDMM Part Hospital in Gujarat, which is a charitable institution, and he's on the board of trustees for the Lady North Court Hindu Orphanage and Govardhan Ecovillage. And he's an advisor to the midday meals program Anna Mitra, which caters to daily lunches for over 1.6 million underprivileged children in government schools in India. Welcome, Mr. Desai, to this panel.
Thank you, Aditya.
The third panelist is Mili Wittmann. She's the founder and CEO of Tattva Tourism Solutions based out of Hamburg. 9 years ago, she's founded Tattva Tourism Solutions, but she has a tourism experience of over 25 years, and she's worked in various inbound destination management companies across India and has extensively traveled and representing India as a destination in Europe. She has developed an understanding of varied markets and understands the pulse and the requirements of travelers visiting Asia, especially India. Her experience in marketing and business development is what brings us to invite her on this panel discussion. Thank you, Mili, and welcome to the session. I'd like to invite Mr. Pronab Sarkar to start with his few words on the session. Mr. Sarkar, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. You can hear me?
Yes, very clear.
Okay, thank you. And good evening to all, and good evening to all the panelists and the listeners. Thank you very much for inviting me at this forum and talk about something on the tourism aspect you have this evening. As you mentioned that while in the industry for such a long time and also holding the position of presidentship of Indian Association of Tour Operators, I would like to say a few words on the about the association. Our association is purely inbound tourism tour operators association, and we have about 1,600 members. And among us, with us also, there are some hoteliers, airlines are also member, and we interact not only for the cause of the industry issues, but also interact with the government, and we are directly in conversation with the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, and we have our state chapters to connect with all the state governments, and we have many things we discuss with the governments, and for the promotion of the tourism and way forward to create a area that where more and more tourism activities are taking place. And our main business is to deal with the foreigners and invite foreign tourists coming to India, and we do our marketing. Each tour operator is responsible for their own marketing, and Government of India support us with the other marketing and promotion features and other supports, which makes this business rolling for quite some time. It was going on very smooth, and under this pandemic the whole situation is become very very critical, and since February 2020 all business is gone down, and from March onward all visas and airlines everything got stopped. And because of that we are really having a tough time. We are unable to pay the salaries of our own people, and unable to sustain. So we are looking forward various support from the Government of India. We are writing to them, we are talking to them, but we are yet to receive any response or some help from there. But we are very positive that post COVID there will be a drastic change. There will be change of our business scenario. There will be change in arrivals. There will be change in our operations. There will be change in handling, and there will be a lot of changes in operations, not only in the hotels, transport, airline, wherever you say there will be some changes, and that changes will bring us the new normals, and we have to live with that. As just before this session, Sanjeet was saying that our vaccine is about to come, but we don't know. Even if vaccine comes, it will take little longer time, because millions of people have to have those vaccines before they travel. And we are in negotiation with the talks with the government that recently they have announced some visas to open up, like business visa and work visa, medical visa, conference visa, but tourist visa yet to open up. And even if it is open up, I think there are some quarantine issues with the arrivals. And even if you have some certification of negative certificate, still you have to undergo some quarantine period for international travelers. And therefore, it is a time where we have to wait and watch how soon things need to be open up. And India is looking into the daily basis what is the kind of people are contaminated, and they are going to the hospitals, and those things need to be under control, because world also has to see that India is a safe destination. If India is not a safe destination, they will not feel confident to travel to India. Rather, Indian tourism, other countries are looking at a very different angle, because Indian travelers are more than the inbound traveler. Outbound travelers are more than the inbound travelers. So therefore, our neighboring countries are looking into a big way that how soon Indian tourists can pour in. So therefore, certain countries they have opened up, like Maldives, they have opened up, and you see the entire Maldives is now full of Indian tourists. And similarly, UAE has opened up for the Indian tourists, and IPL is happening, and a lot of people are traveling there. Hotels are going full there. So a lot of changes going to happen. And India also, we are looking forward that on reciprocal basis, they should also start those countries to open up. So we need to open up the borders first, then the international airlines to come, and then only we can look after the tourists. So we feel that before all these announcements are made, government should declare the date of some likely a date of opening of the visas or opening of the international flights. Then only it will be possible for us that we do some marketing. Marketing is very important aspect for the promotion of the tourism, because our neighboring countries are much more aggressive than our country, and those are smaller country. There the pandemic is going improving very fast, in fact, and India is taking longer time. And sooner those countries, their pandemic situation is over, they will start welcoming the tourist, and still India will be not be starting. So that will be a negative aspect altogether, what we see. And I see that government of India is trying to open up the domestic tourism, but in a way that domestic tourism has to also come up in a way where all the state governments have similar kind of decisions for the quarantine. Every state has different time period for quarantine. Some are allowed by road, some are not welcome by flight. If you are coming by flight, you have to carry the certificate, negative certificate. If you are traveling by road, is all right. Then some state governments, you need to carry some certificate to check in the hotels. So those things need to go, and there has to be one country, one policy situation. Then only it is possible. Northeast is very strict about entering the rest of the Indians. So it is very difficult. Now, if you see some of the states like Uttarakhand, they opened up very last 15 days ago, and see the crowd, it is pouring towards all the Char Dham Yatra and other hill stations. Same way, Himachal open up and Shimla is flooded and there is no room available. So like that, all the states, if they open up, and even Rajasthan is welcoming tourists, and a lot of people are just picking up their vehicle and they're going, because motorable distances are getting the benefit, because when you travel by road, there is no restrictions, and you are going straight to the hotels, checking in and going as per the your wish, and enjoying your holidays. People are waiting for last 6 to 7 months. They need a outing, and they are looking forward to encash that situation. Similarly, our all the resorts, hill stations, and outside the city hotels, resorts, hotels, they are benefited. Even weekends are going full. So this is the tourism. It can create a big change among the people, and they will travel, and government realize that tourism is an economic activity, and this way the job opportunities will come across. At present, all the jobs are at stake. Many of the hotels are not yet open. Many of the hotels in Delhi are also not open. They are announcing their dates from 1st of November. They will be opening. Some are opened very recently. Last week of October, they only opened some hotels in Agra. So people are slowly, because when you run a hotel, it is not the opening up, but the running expenditure increases. So therefore, it is a cost factor one has to look into on the business transaction, where they need to have some kind of plus they can see, then only they will open up. And I'm sure with this new normals when attached and introduced by the Ministry of Home Affairs and Ministry of Tourism, they have given the SOPs, and all the hotels, they are putting them, they are installing them, and they are giving the assurance that they are following the new normals and the SOPs. People are safe. On the other hand, we have requested the government that all the tourist spots need to open up and with the SOPs. But few of the tourist spots are open. Some of the ASI monuments are yet to be opened, and and there is no SOP declared. So therefore, there is some kind of misconnect is also happening. So we want that government to look into all those areas. Though private sector is very much ready, whereas the tour operators are ready, and transporters are ready with the proper SOPs. Hotels are ready, but monuments yet to be ready. Once domestic tourism is in good numbers, then it will showcase that Indian tourism is safe, that message will go to the outside world. And when we can assure that with only with the certificate, negative certificate, if they land, there is no quarantine, and they can proceed with the tour. I think that way inbound tourism can also start, and that is not only going to help the Indian job scenario, plus also Indian government shall also earn the valuable foreign exchange, which is very much required at the moment, and there will be some respite among the hotel industry, so among the restaurants and also the tour operators. At the moment, when domestic moves, the role of tour operators is very, very less. I am talking about on the perspective of the tour operators benefit, because domestic travelers, they don't use mostly the tour operators locally, because at the moment they are picking up their vehicles, they are moving out, going to a destination, booking the hotel directly online and checking in and then check out, because there is no hop off, hop on, hop in cities. They are going only a one city destination. Therefore, it is a very easy aspect for the travelers and they come back. But the real tourism yet to start when they combine two, three cities all together, when students are allowed traveling in groups, that will be the real tourism. It will start when people will be going for hiking, adventure tourism, lot of things they can achieve while doing the open tourism. That is very important, and that is going to start up, because adventure tourism in India is also very big and lot of employment is at stake. That is not yet started because there is no group tourism. Singularly, people are not happy going on the adventure tourism unless there are few friends, there are few families all together. Those kind of hiking and trekking, those tours does not take place. So these are the thing. And then again, if you look at the wellness tourism cannot start because human touch is there. Therefore, it will be taking little longer time to start all those spa business and spa tourism. So there are some hurdles at the moment, and slowly it will take time, and we have to wait and gradually start. And this is the time when we can plan out our promotions and marketing. We can create some visual impacts, visual tourism promotion videos by the Ministry of Tourism, and we do some electronic marketing. Once the opening up of the visas or the airline operational dates are announced, it will be very useful for us to do the marketing. And we tour operators are waiting and watching very closely with a very patient view that we shall start very soon. And with this hope, we are continuing. I think I've spoken a lot. Thank you very much. If you have any other questions, I am ready to answer, and you can take it forward. Thank you very much. If you have not said anything, you can ask me, I can answer you. Thank you very much, Aditya.
Thank you, Pranabji. Thank you. We will come back to you on this. We have a few questions, but we want to quickly bring in Mili Sham Wittmann. Mili, inbound tourism, that what Mr. Sarkar spoke about just now, it's quite center to what you do in Europe as well. Would you like to elaborate on it? Can you switch on your mic, please? Ramakrishna ji, can we have Mili's mic on? Okay, till we fix your mic, Mili, can we move on to Mr. Desai? Mr. Desai, you are an avid traveler. You hold several positions. As the managing director and CEO of Apar Industries, you are a huge entity by itself. You look at Govardhan Ecovillage, you do midday schemes. What do you feel as, Govardhan Ecovillage, and I've worked closely with it. How do you feel, inbound affects this place? Because meditation, spirituality, yoga is key to it.
Thank you, Aditya. So actually, yes, I am a very avid traveler. Travel is a major passion. I reckon I've traveled to over 50 countries for recreational purposes besides business, from Iceland in the north down to New Zealand in the south. And each of these countries has something very unique to offer. And what you've heard over the last couple of days is that India also has something which is very incredible to offer. You hear a lot about the mountains, rivers. We heard a little earlier about adventures, jungle safaris, which you're very closely involved with. Rajasthan is doing a fantastic job. Kerala is doing a fantastic job. We have, some of the best cuisines in the world. But, at the end of the day, besides the scenery, the taste, sound, smell, clothing, the greatest treasure that I think India has to offer is really its cultural and spiritual heritage, which is timeless. And you just mentioned a little bit about it. And what we feel is that, it needs to be presented in a context which is relevant. It should be accessible to people, and it should be absorbable in today's context. Unless it's made absorbable, people can't connect with it, they can't relate to it. And so, one such offering actually is the Govardhan Ecovillage. It has been conceived and built to transform hearts in a very eco-friendly setting and in an eco-friendly way. So I'll speak a little bit about Govardhan Ecovillage because it is really a unique opportunity and a very unique offering. So Govardhan Ecovillage was actually conceived by my spiritual master, His Holiness Radhanath Swami. So he's a spiritual leader, thinker, award-winning author, an activist for positive and sustainable living. And, when he conceived this in his own words, and I'll actually just quote him over here, that he says that you could be living in a palace or under a tree, but it's neither the tree nor the palace that's going to bring you the happiness. It's the simplicity of your consciousness and the sense of gratitude that you have. And it was with this, sort of fundamental thinking that, this Govardhan Ecovillage was conceived. So it's an eco-friendly spiritual retreat center, about 85 acres of verdant forest land. This itself has been transformed from actually an abandoned arid agriculture land. So a lot of technologies have been used which find their way into organic and sustainable farming, which were originally conceived and deployed here to actually build, the greenery and the forest which Govardhan Ecovillage has. Also, I use the word retreat as opposed to resort. I've been to hundreds of resorts around the world, and there's a fundamental difference between the two. A resort is where you want to enjoy yourself, maybe relax, but it's a little bit different than a retreat center. And in our retreat center, we have this ILGT concept, which is that it's a place where it allows you to introspect, to learn, to grow internally, and to actually transform yourself. So that's what, Govardhan Ecovillage is trying to provide, in a setting which is peaceful, a setting which is natural, a relatively pure environment. And, it's very educational, so it's really a facility which helps you connect to yourself. And in this holistic approach, there's something for the body, there's something for the mind, and there's something for the soul. So at Govardhan Ecovillage, we have actually Govardhan Ayurveda, which it's not really a spa as much as it focuses much more on therapeutic treatments. Of course, there are massages and things like that, but it actually focuses on solving chronic medical problems. And we have a lot of people coming in here spending anywhere between 15 days and a month to 2 months. Because the environment itself is very conducive, to Ayurvedic sort of treatment, which is relatively holistic, and the state of your mind also plays an important role in terms of, how you recuperate. In addition to that, we actually also have the Govardhan School of Yoga, where we have internationally certified instructors. We have programs which are run that give you international certification, so you can go back within India or into your home country and actually teach. So there are many programs there. It starts off with a 28-day flagship program, which is an international certified program. But it runs down to smaller programs which are in a long, like a long weekend thing, which would run for about 3 days. And so we have many, it's like a full calendar. It is like a school, so they have a full calendar of programs that actually run. Over there, it's becoming more and more popular even for students and people within India to come in and take short courses and programs. And then we have another unique offering there, which is the School of Sustainability, and that offers platforms for learning organic farming, gardening, vegan and vegetarian cooking. And I differentiate between the two, because actually Indian cooking has a lot of milk-based products. But veganism is becoming very popular, especially from a health standpoint. There's, of course, spiritual learning and various spiritual programs that are there. And so the whole thing can come together because there are very good facilities where you have classrooms, auditoriums, seminar halls. And in fact, the major yoga center, which is multi-purpose but can be used for yoga, is actually 10,000 square feet in size. And then, so, basically the whole focus is that we are not here to impress as much as, in terms of learning. The accommodation also there is, it ranges from basic to comfortable depending on, what people are willing to pay for. But the idea was, you allow people from different income levels also to come in and really absorb themselves, so cost should not really be the biggest barrier in terms of coming in and absorbing yourself, at the Govardhan Ecovillage. Also, the name Ecovillage actually comes about because the whole village has been built with various eco-friendly technologies. So all the major structures there are actually made of mud blocks, which have been built on site. They're specially designed so that it's not too hot during the summer and not too cold during the winter. They're self-insulating in a way. Everything there is 100% organic farming. There is a lot of upcycling. There is a lot of recycling that's there. You also have a plastics pyrolysis plant. So the plastics in the whole district are collected, brought there, converted into a fuel that can run a diesel generator if required, when power outages happen. And all the sewage, which is and wastewater, runs actually through a bio soil technology plant, which was implemented for the first time. It's a technology that's owned by IIT Powai, but the first large-scale implementation was done here at Govardhan Ecovillage. So you have all the waste and sewage water that actually comes into this bioreactor. And finally, what comes out of it is actually potable water. Not that it's used for drinking purposes, but the entire forest is irrigated, with that. So that's, pretty much what happens there. There are number of groups that come in from around the world. There are a whole lot of yoga groups that come in. It's very popular from December through February for groups to come in and spend, several days there. We also have an extensive program that's running with universities and colleges in the United States. So, it's part of the study abroad, sort of program where students come in. From Mumbai, we get anywhere between 5 and 10,000 students a year coming in to learn and, at Govardhan Ecovillage, whatever is there to offer in the areas that I spoke about. And most of these programs have, an India immersion piece. They have a community service piece. They have an environmental and sustainable living piece. And I can tell you that, of the many people that I have met and spoken to after they've come here, that after spending a few days at Govardhan Ecovillage, they've all felt some degree of transformation and change. So what we feel is that, there are people in this world, looking for this sort of experience. That's a little bit different. That's a little bit more soul searching. And our sense is that, with the onset of the COVID, yes, everybody's been affected, as Mr. Sarkar mentioned. Even Govardhan Ecovillage, obviously, staff salaries, everything have to be paid. There's no income coming in. We are opening on the 1st of November in a restricted manner. But, in the words of Ray Dalio, and I come from the business world, Ray Dalio is one of the biggest and most celebrated fund managers in the world. And he has a human equation, which I thought I could share with you guys, and Govardhan Ecovillage fits right into it. And that he says that, pain plus reflection is equal to progress. And if you don't spend any time reflecting, you are only left with the pain. And that's what we think we can bring, that's what Govardhan Ecovillage was meant for. It's very relevant in today's context. A lot of us have gone through pain, whether it's financial, whether it's mental, psychological. But here is a place where there is a lot of opportunity to actually reflect and learn things which could bring out the humanness in you. So we are hoping that, sometime early next year we're able to open fully. But from tomorrow there's a limited opening, and we're looking forward to welcoming guests there. It's all full already, and let's see how it goes.
Thank you, Mr. Desai. It's very, very well put by you. Sounds like an amazing place. I have had the opportunity of staying there in the past, and it's the experience.
Hopefully there was a little transformation that you had, Aditya, when you were there.
Sorry?
I said, hopefully there was a little transformation of heart that you had when you stayed there.
There was. But I felt that place is like India in a nutshell. The Ecovillage is like India in a nutshell. And, with spirituality, wellness, holistic healing being, the main theme. Our previous speaker was Claudia, and she sells wellness holidays, a lot of them in India. And, that is something that Govardhan Ecovillage does very well. And, coming from the German market, we want to introduce our next speaker, Mili Wittmann, who stays in Hamburg, Germany. And wellness is huge there. And we'd like to bring Mili in. So Mili, over to you. I hope the mic's working.
I hope you can hear me now.
Yes.
Hello to my fellow panelists, Mr. Desai and Mr. Sarkar. Hello, Aditya. First of all, thank you for inviting me on this panel. And I would like to start with some of the hard facts which have been going on in the tourism industry since March 2020. A lot has been covered by the panelists in the last 2 days, and of course today also. But some things which I would like to briefly cover is that since March 2020, we've had no tourism at all. India stopped the tourism from 22nd of March, and they started getting the tourists back into their various countries. So we are really in the end of the 8th month where there has been no tourism. And as the scenario is looking, we do not think we will have any tourism coming up till March 2021. So that altogether is already 14 months. And further looking to the scenario, from April onwards, the summer season starts, and the tourists will not obviously jump and come into the planes and travel all across the world, and especially to India right now with the borders getting closed and the quarantine being there. So we do not see any business happening till October or November 2021. So that brings a total of no tourism for a total of 18, 19, 20 months. After this crisis, we will really have to see how many of the foreign tour operators would still be around, how many DMCs in India would be still around. Likewise, how many hotels, how many restaurants, how many transporters, aviation industries. So this is the reality check we will really have to keep doing and getting onto with it to see what is going to happen with the future of tourism. And this crisis is really like in the March 2021, we will have to see into the mirror what exactly lies ahead of us. Don't want to sound too negative, but yes, we will have to work hard to make India shine out with the international market. India has all been there as a tourism destination for a long time. I've personally been promoting India from the last 27 years. And we have to come out and really put forward the point of what we already have and what are the new destinations we can put forward for the customers. We don't have to talk about the hygiene systems or the health issues because the hospitality industry always has followed that and is been following. Rather, we have gone step or two steps or three steps further to maintain the hygiene and the health issues. That's already taken care of, and we have to tell the industry what are the new destinations, what we can present to them. The India tourist offices, the foreign tourist offices all over overseas, they have to work very closely with the embassies and the consulates and the India tourism office to do more events, to do more activities, to put India out there really upfront. Because, see, after this scenario, we have to be careful to see that the tour operators are going less. And also the product, their brochures are going smaller. The people who are selling the worldwide tours, they are putting only one brochure in place with all the destinations, instead of having an individual brochure for Asia or the individual brochure for India. So we will have to make sure that the competition is getting bigger for the customer. The competition, as in there are more destinations available in one brochure rather than India being one brochure or India being an Asia brochure. So India really has to stand up, outshine, and tell the tourist why they should be chosen besides so many other destinations. So we'll have to refresh, represent, and remind the market about India. This is what I would like to say.
Thank you, Mili. I think the 3 R's are very important, and like you said, we are looking at a more competitive world. Competition is something that Mr. Desai understands also very well, coming from the business background. But I have some questions for Pranabji. Pranabji, with the when the industry will rebound is probably some time away. With the vaccine due in the next few months. But there are 2 things that come across, especially learning from what Mili is saying. Am I audible?
Yes.
So one is when we reset the trade and business part, do you look at us being able to do time trips more to be able to sell India better? And number 2 is India has time and again suffered from a perception issue. Whenever there has been untoward incidences in India, it has affected travel trade the worst. And with now COVID, pandemic being across the world, and with India, showing numbers, does India still suffer from a perception issue as to how safe it is to travel? And how does IATO want to address this issue? Pranabji, can you switch on your mic, please?
Yeah, I have switch on. You can't
we can hear me.
Just now. Yeah. You said you can hear me. Yes.
I can. We can.
Now you can hear me? Okay. So, as you rightly mentioned, that even Mili also said that it will take time. Of course, it will going to take time because our season is start now from October. And I do not see any booking till December. Nothing is going to happen because unless pandemic is over, nobody is going to think about traveling to India. or anywhere. Now, other international countries, they are also encouraging domestically they should travel. So within Germany, they are traveling, within Italy, they are traveling, within France, they are traveling, but they are not traveling out of the country at the moment because it has to see the other country how they are faring. So India is going to take a longer time because now the return of COVID is also started. So we do not know what will be the situation after the Bihar election. The way it is going up, it is going to flare up. I can see the numbers are going to go up. It is not going to go down. And then again, the other elections are going to happen in Bengal and and in Tamil Nadu. So I do not see how we are going to have a controlled COVID scenario for our country. So I see, even if the vaccines are out in January, but this season is gone till March. And after March, the off season starts, summer. Another 6 months is gone. And it will be the next October, as Billy also said the same thing. And also, one more aspect I would like to highlight here, that forget about group tourism at the moment, because even the group will not gather together to travel together with unknown people. That will not happen. It will be only the families and friends they will be traveling to start with. So if we think that the tourism is going to bounce back and is going to grow V shape, it will not happen. It will not happen. It will happen very gradually, and same way that it is going to start, we all are at the same level. Unfortunately, the companies, they do some business, they are somewhere position 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 100 like that. But today's date, we are all equal. Everybody is sitting at zero. So we have to start from the zero to gain the business. And the most important part is the promotion part. And we can do promotion when situation at the ground level is clear, it is conducive to promote, it is ready for accepting foreign tourists, or it is the normal situation is happening and visas and international flights are going to start, we can start promoting and marketing. So we are in touch with the Ministry of Tourism, and Ministry of Tourism is also very keen to have some discussions with the industry stakeholders to come up and give them way forward how we go about all this. And the marketing, the whole new normals will be the issue, and we have to come out. India is a vast country. We are not selling one product. We are not selling one tourism product. We are selling hundreds of tourism products. We are selling thousands of luxury hotels. We are selling various destination tourist spots. We have hundreds of monuments. So we have lot of things. Natural beauty is there that India can show, mountain and snow-capped mountain 12 months in a year. Whether it is any month, you name it, I can show you snow on the mountains. So that is the country is India. And we have desert, we have sea, we have jungles, we have wildlife, we have mountains, we have adventure, we have rivers. You name it, we have it. And there is no way that we can be left out from the international market. We have to market our product, and I'm sure that we will be achieve something, though it will be gradually and it will take some time to come back. Once pandemic and the fear of pandemic or the disease is over, I am sure within 2 years time or maximum of 2.5 years time, situation will be different altogether, and we are sure that we will bounce back. And Mili also rightly said that how many people are left or how many people are survived after this pandemic, that is the new situation are going to happen, because that is a challenge. Whomsoever we were dealing before, once I go again, I don't think they will be same place. They are the same where they were there before. They will be there. The new players will be coming in. New marketing people will be there. New generation is going to start. So it will be all together a new generation marketing and promotions, and the business will be done. There will be a one phase out. You can see that one era of tourism will be over with this pandemic. The new era of tourism is going to start. This is what my perception at the moment. I can read out And I would like to say all that please have some hope, and we are going to come back again. But till such time, you remain in business, you remain in existence, so that you can reap the fruits. That's what I would like to say.
Thank you, Pranabji. I think very well put. Your words definitely motivate everyone within your umbrella organization, and you make for a great motivational speaker there as well. Um Kushalji, I want to ask you, in all businesses or in destinations, brand perception makes a huge difference. We had yesterday, a day before yesterday, we had a speaker from the United Nations, and he brought out two or three very pertinent, issues. One is that, like many diseases, COVID will actually never be cured. It'll never finish. Number one. Number two, he said, is that more than vaccine, masks are more important. So number three was that India's infection rate is about 1.5. That is less than half of the global average, which is 2.5 or 3. Does India continue to have this perception problem of being an unsafe place? And as a business, do you also feel that this is an aspect that needs to be addressed?
Well, I mean, to tell you honestly about the infection rate, I think our numbers are vastly underreported. And but on the other hand, the one thing is that the Indian immunity which is there, as well as their ability to survive downturns. I can tell you at least from an industrial and business standpoint, when you go through cycles, Indian companies and businesses somehow or the other manage to bounce back. And I would be quite amazed if you see a massive decimation of businesses at the end of COVID. They managed to shrink, reduce their overheads, and they managed to spring right back. In terms of brand perception, it is very important. And I guess one of the big deterrents which would be there is that the Indian perception of just access to mass medical facilities, hospitals, etc. Is quite low actually. And there's a lot of bad stories that were floating around, especially during the period where the COVID infections had reached very high proportions in terms of the ability of access to medical care, etc., etc. So I guess more than anything else, that's one perception which would be a bit of a deterrent or a drag. My sense is, and this is purely, I'm not from the travel industry, but my sense is that most of the travel that will happen over the next 1 year to destinations in India will come from local people, and it's just unbelievable how many guys are now fed up of being 8 months locked in the house. You are avid with jungles and jungle trails and game parks and things. From what I'm given to understand, and a lot of my friends have already booked flights and places to go. So outdoor sort of places are going to be actually filled up the first. So I think a lot of, there will be a fill up which will come from domestic tourism because Indians are known to travel around quite a bit, and for them things are hampered being able to move out of the country. The weather is going to be significantly better, so I guess they will provide a little bit of a fill up. But coming to your brand question, I think we do have this problem of medical facilities not being exactly good, even though because we have business relationships with we sell products in over 100 countries. So I know and I'm in touch with people all over the world. Our medical protocols that are being followed here are equal to the best in the world. But the access is not there. It's not like Germany, where Mili comes from, which has such a phenomenal network and medical access. So I guess that's one perception one will have to deal with.
Thank you. Is Mili here? Well, maybe we lost her. Pranabji, one last question. When trade does start back, do you think foreign tour operators would first want to do fam trips before they come to India, and what level of product training do you expect to happen, or can we start where we left off from?
Yes, I think there is no doubt that we have all trained manpower to handle, and process of training is going on at the moment when we have free time, that we can handle any amount of foreign tourists coming to India with the new normals. And when they start, I'm sure the fam tour is a very essential part to showcase and send them back with the confidence that India is safe destination. That we shall be doing in collaboration with the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, and a series of fam tours we will be organizing from almost all the countries to visit India and experience and see yourself, and go confidently go back and promote tourism. That is a very essential part. We have to do it. That we will be doing in our next meeting with the ministry, that when it is happening, our meeting, we are going to do a big proposal on that. The fam tours should be the one way to attract, and then followed up with the road shows, and we shall be visiting those countries to ensure them with the films we will be carrying and showcasing them. And of course, India, people are very strong, their immunity system is very strong. The way they live in their countryside, and more people are in the villages, they breathe the more fresh air, and that is why the more people are having stronger immunity to come back. And even if the recovery rates are much higher because of that. And of course, when the foreign tourists they come, their immunity, because of their hygienic condition, if we compare ourselves, may not be as good as with our country. So therefore there is a risk factor. But if they are with the kind of safety and with the norms we go ahead, and they also observe, I think there will be no cases of having any kind of falling ill or having the pandemic with those people they are traveling. Because when the pandemic started in February and March, we had few guests from Italy, and Italy was the maximum that time, and China was totally stopped. So most of the Italian tourists were thought of that they are the carriers, but they went back all safe and sound, barring one case only. So it was not the case that India is very unsafe. India did not have any case, unless till such time our own people came back from abroad, and the checking were not done properly. Therefore it spread out so badly. Otherwise I think India was a safe country, and we were panicking more about the foreigners, and we had to send them back. But in future, when the new normal in place, and when we are ready, I'm sure people are more educated now, how to keep their immunity strong, how to go with the people, go with the masses. We will not be taking them to the crowded places. We will be keeping the tours in a with proper distance. And in the vehicles also we will maintain the social distancing, and we will carry our tours in a way that they feel confident that India is a safe destination. And as Kushal mentioned, that medically, we do not have good number of beds. It is very, very true that we cannot handle such huge number of patients in our country. So they have to be treated at home only. But when foreign tourists come, we need to have some allotment of emergency beds available in all the cities wherever tourists are going, with the assurance with the state governments and the central government both together. We will have some agreement in place before we start the tourism. So we will create a big confidence level among the foreign tourists, that even if they are coming here, if anything goes wrong, we will take care. So that is the way it is. Like other countries are also started doing the same thing. And the certification and the insurance is also coming up in a place, that whenever people are traveling, they will have the medical insurance done, so that there need not to be any panic. If somebody is falling sick also will be taken care. So people will start, because every time when something happens, when it is unknown, then people are little afraid, they are scared. When people know it is curable, when people know that I will be taken care, then people are much easy to travel. So those things will take place by slowly, and we will also take it out. If you see, when 23rd of March, whole India was closed, when only 500 people were affected. And when 5 lakh people are affected, everything is opening up. Lockdown 1, lockdown 2, now we are having lockdown 5. So everything is open up, everything is moving. So every economy is opening. But tourism is the one industry which, which affected first, and it will recover last. Any manufacturing, anything can happen, they will come back slowly. Those economically, they will bounce back earlier than tourism. But tourism will take the longer time. Government also knows, we also know, we have to have some patience and wait and watch. And I'm sure as soon as the 2020 is over, 2021 will be the best new year to start with new business.
Thank you, Pranabji. Very quickly, one last question to you before I ask Mili her question. I know she's been going on and off for some time. Since you spoke of insurance for foreign travelers, how do we ensure that the insurance that they pay to travel to India would be at par for what they pay maybe going to Africa or South America or maybe Southeast Asia or Maldives?
I think even if there is a difference, but insurance premium does not have a big impact in the amount, in the figure, because cost of medical expenses India is much cheaper than any other country. So therefore, I don't think that will be a big matter that insurance company will levy. But one thing I have a concern, that we will be losing out the luxury segment of the business, which we had the privilege of receiving people above 60 years and 65 years, and who are all retired people getting good pension money, and they used to travel and spend in a good luxurious hotels, and spending good amount of money. But if the restrictions remain there, the such countries are imposing at the moment that people above 60 years will not be allowed to get out of the country, or visas will not be granted, then it is a problem for India, and Indian luxury segment business will have some effect on that. But younger generation will definitely be traveling, and I'm sure we will have some aspect, and we are living here to learn more every day.
Yes, so exactly. My question was specifically for those over 60 years, because those are the definitions that have been often passed around. Quickly, back to Mili. Mili, we heard Thomas Ramapuram in the previous session, and how Evolve Back as a hotel really planned as a strategy to bring back business or bring back revenues into the hotel for domestic tourism. Now, inbound has, maybe not in numbers, but in terms of quantity of business and the foreign exchange that it brings, it's a huge, huge business in India. I feel that a lot of people don't have the wherewithal currently to judge what kind of market accessibility will be there when the businesses actually start opening up after probably this lockdown 2 that is happening in Europe. What are the products that are going to be sold? What are the brands that will be able to support them in terms of businesses? So would you care to elaborate maybe quickly, like an action plan on what are the steps that we could take if you're a wellness property, if you're if you want to sell yourself in Europe, how would you do that?
See, right now, the sustainability and ecological tour and responsible tour are the key words, the need of the hour. Everybody is following that, and everybody is going for that. India, if we go back to not far away, even to 30, 40 years back, was responsible, sustainable in each and every household. we got a little modern and we left our old thought of school in our homes of, just getting modern, using kitchen towels, which are the paper made instead of the cloth made. Just a little example. These are the things which are getting back in our households and also in the tourism industry, which has to get more and more with water conservation, organic farming. So these are the things which have to be highlighted outside in Europe for the marketing, that how organic or how conservation can protect India's tourism. And we have to be on the marketing front, marketing our country regularly. Not only about Taj Mahal, as Mrs. Amrit Singh also said, Ajanta and Ellora are the destinations nobody talks about. Hampi are the very few destinations people know about. So we have to come out with destinations which are complete in itself. For example, I would say a Tiger Trails Resort, which is a private conservation in itself. A project in Melghat. So as to say, I've been listening to Mr. Gauranga Das, Mr. Desai, and the other panelists also, Govardhan Ecovillage, which are a concept in itself. The products like this have to be marketed. More roadshows have to be done. More events have to be done by the Ministry of Tourism and also by the tour operators, DMCs in overseas. And the people like myself, we have to be out and about connecting the tour operators with what is new and what better can we do in the tourism industry. I hope I answer your question. You have to unmute yourself, Aditya.
I have been looking LinkedIn and I have never seen so many resumes floating from the tourism professionals as I have seen in the last 6 months. Whether they are from Indian DMCs based out of Delhi or Lotli or some in Mumbai. But there has been total decimation at the product level in the international tour operators also.
Yeah.
So even though some countries have given literally printed money and handed it over for people to run their companies, but I feel that entire product teams are missing now in these companies. So how does an experience provider, a hotel, an adventure tour operator, how does he figure out what are the agents that are still relevant out there? What are the product teams that are there? If there are new product teams, does product training become a key activity going forth? When do you have to start this? Do you have to start now? We plan 18 months in advance. So when does that 18-month schedule begin? Does it begin now so that we can plan in for November next year? Your thoughts on this?
Actually, yes, because now is the time when the new brochures are coming out. The product teams are sitting and finalizing on the new product. So this is the time when we actually have to go out and start talking to the tour operators who are still there, where the product teams are still there. And we have to keep refreshing their memory and reintroducing the products. We have to start doing our Zoom meetings because we are not, right now, we are in a soft lockdown in Germany. So we are not allowed to leave our states also. So we have to do the Zoom meetings, we have to do our emailers, and we have to reintroduce, remind them of the products, what we have, and what new is happening in the market. And also, I would like to say that Mr. Pronab Sarkar is also here, that we have to be very careful of the tax structure. If people like you and the other associations, Faith, FICCI, IATO, ADTOI, if all of you get together and go to the government together with the rest of the tour operators to put down the taxes, because we have to be very price conscious when we go to the tour operator, because now there are more destinations, less travelers, less DMCs, and of course less tour operators also. So we as an Indian tourism market have to be very, very competitive when we go out and present our product. So if we could request the Government of India, Ministry of Tourism, to reduce some taxes which will benefit all of us. But we have to do it together. We cannot do it individually.
Yeah, very well put. I think, Pranabji, you run a two-way street where you represent the industry on one side and look after their demands, which are now ever increasing. But you also look at government, and you have to figure out how the industry fits with the policies of the government, or how to restructure policies, to help trade in general. So we're coming to the close of this session. We've had some amazing, insightful discussions. Pranabji is, obviously the doyen of the industry, and he knows all of us well. Mili, thank you for your insight from Europe. Kushalji, thank you for your insights on Govardhan Ecovillage. And I'd like to bring Neela ji, who would sum up the session and sum up the conference in general. Neela ji, over to you.
Thank you, Aditya. A wonderful session. And my responsibility is to talk about the conference as well as today's sessions. This entire conference on reinventing India experiences, and it is together towards a new normal. We have had some superb deliberations from day one till today. Particularly today's sessions were on redefining experiences, how would we sell India, and the inbound real picture ahead. I think this was the main section of the entire conference, where we learned so much about how we are likely to go forward with how to sell India. The first session, redefining experiences with Thomas, was a real educative experience. Customer engagement has been the key to keep business going. And that he proved with his records, he proved with what he has done, what efforts he has taken, his company has taken. It's not only the customers, but he's also taken B2B interaction ahead. And that has helped him fill up his rooms from September onwards. I think that was a great experience. What basically he was trying to say was the client recall helped him a lot. The second session, how would we sell India, with Claudia, I think her deliberations, her presentation on wellness tourism in India was amazing. What she's saying is that India has to have a very strong shift from experiential tourism to transformative wellness travel in India. She's saying, look at the longer duration stays, look at the consolidated product of body, mind, and soul for selling India. I think more towards spiritual and health. The next session we had was inbound, a real picture ahead. And sorry, I think I missed out on Amrit Singh's project session. She was very vocal about how we should learn to sell India now. Particularly, she suggested that we should start promoting the cultural destinations. For example, we do not talk much about Ajanta Ellora. We have to start selling Varanasi. An example of Hampi, which time and again people have mentioned, everybody in the industry is aware that Hampi is as beautiful as any other monument in the country. And that has helped India to bring Hampi on an international map. So Amrit was very vocal about that. Her advice was to promote cultural sites and mention more about sites like Ajanta, Ellora, etc. And her take on India was for immersive collective experience. I think that is wonderful. Amrit, we were very happy to listen to that. That immersive collective experience is what we need. The last session from Aditya and his panelists were great experience. Pranabji, Kaushalji, and Mili, all of them spoke on one thing, and that was sustainability. Pronab Sarkarji had a special thought on both trade side as well as his interaction with government. So he's more aware of what government is doing and what trade wants government to do. Mili spoke about taxation. I think that's going to affect a lot. And also keeping India a price conscious destination, because it's not going to be, we are going to be in competition with the entire globe. So we have to see that we have We offer what we can sell and we offer what people can buy. Kaushalji spoke so well about GEV, the Govardhan Ecovillage. The resort is amazing, a complete organic resort. And I'm sure people will be looking forward to visiting Govardhan Ecovillage now. Every day almost of each session, we have listened to Govardhan Ecovillage's sustainability efforts that they have taken. They have won the award for sustainable tourism. They have been consciously keeping all their product organic, community development, and that's how Govardhan Eco Village has come on international map. We wish everyone all the best. We wish industry all the best. I request Vrushali to take over to give a vote of thanks.
Yes, thank you so much for that, Neela ji. Thank you. And yes, thank yous are in order to everyone who has been a part of this conference. They say gratitude is to honor, to recognize, and to appreciate everyone and everything for a higher purpose. So the conference began with a beautiful reference to Bhagavad Gita of a journey within. And as the last session of this conference concludes, I now take this opportunity to thank all those who have come together collectively to take this endeavor forward. This is only a beginning in many ways. I would like to begin by thanking all the speakers and the panelists for having believed in this concept and who took the time off to readily and optimistically come together in this united effort in such extraordinary circumstances. We are grateful to Govardhan Ecovillage and Gauranga Das ji for the leadership and guidance through pioneering sustainable initiatives that played a critical role in the conceptualizing and accomplishing of this conference. I would like to thank Meenakshi Sharma ji, the Director General, Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, for your support and collaboration are highly inspiring to us. We look forward to your encouragement to continue to take this determined effort forward. Having Rishikesh Mafatlal ji as a part of this team was a kind and humbling experience. Thank you so much for taking time off your busy schedule and sharing your thoughts with us. Praveen Singh Padeshi ji, thank you so much for sharing your vast experience and showing us the ways in which this can be taken ahead. Yuvraj Padole ji for being a part of this journey to advise on working out the setbacks and challenges of the travel and tourism industry. Venkatesan ji, we are really grateful to you for this collaboration and thank you for your ideas on redefining the idea of sustainability of Indian tourism. Smita Gulwadi ji, thank you for joining hands with us to become a part of this collective effort. We are thankful to Kamlesh Barotji, who set the tone for the conference on the first day and shared his critical views on the challenges being faced by the hospitality industry. Mr. Swaminathan, we are grateful to you for your insights on working together in an optimistic way for the resurgence of the industry and for enriched travel experiences. Farhad Jamalji, we truly appreciate your sharing of the thoughts and learnings from the corona crisis, which will be a big help for the travel and tourism industry to rebound. Sanjay Basuji, we value your comments on how we can be positive in these difficult times and create possibilities for the industry despite the current COVID-19 crisis. Zeelam Chaubil ji, thank you so much for sharing your feelings and thoughts to reinforce and reinvent the concept on India's domestic tourism. Rajiv Srivastav ji, again, thank you for your time from your busy schedule for showing us the possibilities of reviving and revisiting tourism and also finding solutions towards financial sustainability. Rupinder Brarji for showing her immense support to the idea behind this conference and offering your help on behalf of the Ministry of Tourism to show us the way forward. Ameya Belorkar, we are really grateful to you for the innovative ways and possibilities that the financial sector can be involved in helping the industry revive. Julian Matthews, we welcome your comments and invaluable knowledge in the industry and look forward to your continued guidance. To Michael Dominic, thank you so much for sharing us that sustainability in tourism will be the way forward. Thomas Ramapuram today for redefining the experiences and how to find the best possible solution in these testing times. Claudia Wagner for showing us how the Indian experience can be truly enhanced despite the challenges that we are facing. Amrit Singh ji for the highlighting the ideas that can again make this a unique travel destination and experience for the world. Pronab Sarkar ji, thank you so much for your insights on the different opportunities for augmenting inbound travel. Mili, Sham, Wittmann, we are really grateful to you for your thoughts on the potential prospects that can be taken up for enhancing inbound India experiences. And Kushal Desai ji, thank you so much for your time. We know you have a busy schedule. We are extremely thankful to you for your motivation and guidance to direct us on how we can take the ideas in this conference forward in a positive way to chart the real picture ahead. Now, I'd like to thank the co-organizers without whose support and confidence this conference would have remained that paper tiger. So special mention here for the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India for their encouragement to make this a part of its incredible India concept. And now for the most special person here, Neela ji. Neela ji, it is said that it is a guru who illuminates the mind. For us, Neela ji has been that guiding light who handheld us and led us through this journey. As much as I say will not be enough to express our gratitude to her. So Nilaji, for your guidance and advice was just crucial in conceptualizing and executing this whole concept as we see it. I thank you very, very much on behalf of really all of us. Thank you so much for being there for us. Thank you. And Aditya Dhanwatay, who has ensured that every detail is well covered and taken care of, and for being the go-to person for everything. Aditya, we have discovered new facets of you during this conference. So thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Special thanks to Sumanta Rudra, Dean Academics of Bhaktivedanta Research Center, for your direction to lay the foundation for this event and his invaluable and timely suggestions on implementation. Rima Lokesh, for your encouragement and for putting together key insights in so many appropriate words that will actually become the way forward as we seek practical outcomes from this conference. I'm grateful to Sanjeet ji of Trap Talk for his backing, motivation, and enthusiasm to come together in this endeavor. Now, of course, thank you, Anusha Gavankar, my good friend and co-founder of the Dhī Project, who was always there to support me and my soundboard throughout this journey. And now the most important team, I'm very, very grateful to the support team that has always at the back end, but that is always the spine of a conference that ensures its success. I would please request them to switch on their cameras and come to the front stage, please. Shivangi, Srimati, and Ramakrishna ji, please. Yes, Ramakrishna ji, you too. Yes, there they are. So Shivangi Purohit first for suggesting and managing all the marketing and communication initiatives precisely, proactively, and well in time to reach out to the maximum audiences most effectively. Thank you, Shivangi. Thank you so much for your support. Then I would like to thank yes, while most of us were absolutely new to StreamYard, I thank Ramakrishna ji who managed all the technicalities for the conference with great ease and made sure that we are all very comfortable with the platform. Ramakrishna ji, thank you so much for your effort. Thank you so much. And of course, Srimati Ghosh for all the assistance and technical backing that you provided to ensure that the execution went off smoothly. Srimati, thank you. Thank you very much for your help. Thank you so much. And Vikas ji, who we are very thankful
Thank you
for
so much, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you, Srimati. Thank you. I'd like to thank Vikas ji, who has done the creatives for us. We are very thankful to have your creativity and hard work to see the brand itself that this conference has now become. Thank you very, very much. Anand Chaitanya ji, of course, you with your help in managing all communications and coordination, which was very, very crucial at every stage of this conference. Truly, truly grateful to you. Thank you very, very much. And finally, a big, big thank you to the audience and the viewers worldwide who made this conference a success and whose support only encourages us to positively and collectively move ahead towards achieving the main objective of this conference together towards the new normal. So thank you, all of you. And this is not a goodbye. This is more like we'll see you again next year. So thank you very much, all of you. Neela ji, Aditya ji, if you could say a couple of words before we sign off. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Vrushali ji, it was a great experience working with this team. It was an excellent coordination, and the deliberations from the conference are a big takeaway for us. I think there is a lot of learning from this conference, which we will document and make use of. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Vrushali. I think there has been a lot of facets of the trade that have been brought forth through this conference. We've had a variety of speakers and some amazing discussions on our panels, and there have been some key takeaways. Some are which are very pertinent to the very survival of this industry, and we hope to be a two-way street. And to take the message of our panelists to the various stakeholders as well as to the government. And I think this is just the start. Hopefully next year we should have a physical conference where I think all the speakers that were here, we should have a physical FaceTime with them. And I think that'll be the new normal in times to come. So all the best wishes for everyone, and back to you, Vrushali.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Namaste and see you again. I will not say goodbye. See you again. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Yes.